Live from the Sports and Recreation Center on the campus of the College of Staten Island, CSI Sportsnet presents exclusive NCAA Division III women's basketball coverage. Tonight's matchup features the Pioneers of William Paterson taking on the Dolphins of the College of Staten Island. Good evening, everybody. This is Joe Foreman, joined by Mike Babuski, bringing you all the action live from center court during tonight's game. And Mike, the Dolphins come in on a 5-game winning streak, playing extremely well, including a pair of victories against non-conference opponents, like the Pioneers they'll be facing tonight, a non-conference opponent, and a trio of victories within the CUNYAC Conference over John Jay, York, and CCNY. The Dolphins are off to a strong 7-1 start this season. What have you seen from this team that has made them so successful?
Yeah, Joe, like you mentioned, the team is off to a good start this year. Their only loss of the season against Division I Wagner College, coming in with a record of 7-1, as you mentioned, but team really going to take a step up tonight, playing a very tough William Paterson Pioneer team, a very big, strong team, and the Dolphins are going to really have to play their best game tonight to be able to play against the Pioneers.
And taking a look at what the Dolphins have done so far this season, points off turnovers have been a huge asset to them in their games. They've scored an average of 37.5 points off turnovers. A lot of those points, or that average, I should say, being drastically increased against the CUNYAC opponents over the last week or two. A 104-41 victory over John Jay yielded a lot of points off turnovers, a victory over York as well, and then another victory over CCNY 3 days ago. But I thought going into that matchup with Wagner College, the Dolphins may not be able to force as many turnovers as they had in their previous pair of games against St. Joseph's of Brooklyn and New Rochelle. However, they went into that game against Wagner College, and much like their previous two games, were able to force those turnovers and make the most of them. So here tonight, against an opponent that's certainly a step up from what the Dolphins have faced over at least the last 2 weeks, huge victories in those 3 games over John Jay, York, and CCNY, against an opponent here tonight that, as I said, is a step up. There's really no reason to believe the Dolphins can't replicate the effort they put forth, at least against Wagner College, where they continue to force turnovers and make the most of them, turning them into points.
Yeah, the biggest challenge the Dolphins are going to face tonight, Joe, is actually going to be the size of the Pioneers. The Pioneers are much bigger than Wagner was against the Dolphins. And, one of the big challenges for the Dolphins here tonight is going to be able to play at a little bit of a quicker tempo, Joe. They're not going to be able to play the kind of game that they played against John Jay and York and CCNY. And, you look at the NYU game, and it was a good game and a very nice win against a team they've never beat before. Sedentary struggling a little bit, and then you go back to the New Rochelle and St. Joe's Brooklyn non-conference games. And, those are teams, Joe, that the Dolphins are much better than, and you would really expect them to beat. So, if the Dolphins are going to be competitive here in this game tonight, and we certainly expect them to be, they're going to have to continue to get turnovers, and they're going to have to figure out a way to rebound the basketball against a team with 7 players that are 5'10" or bigger.
Well, you mentioned the rebounding, Mike, and the Dolphins coming into this game here tonight do have a positive rebounding margin on the season, have out-rebounded their opponents by an average of about 3 rebounds a game. And in that game against Wagner College, a team which you mentioned possesses less size than this Pioneers team, but certainly more size than the Dolphins in the first half of that game against the Seahawks were able to rebound the basketball fairly well. I believe they maybe even had a positive rebounding margin going into halftime of that game. If not, it was definitely a very close rebounding battle. But then late in that game, in the second half, the Seahawks really began to rebound the basketball, as we're accustomed to seeing them rebound, at least as what the stats indicated going into that game. And really down the stretch, it was the size of Wagner College that did the Dolphins in, especially down in the low post, scoring the basketball. Though the Dolphins have done a good job scoring the ball in the paint this season. Really, it's from three-point range that they've won a lot of their games. And again, forcing turnovers, of course, a big part of it as well. The Dolphins shooting just under 32% from downtown this season and just under 39% from the field. So the Dolphins have shot the ball pretty well so far here this season, but you did mention that forcing turnovers and rebounding will be key here tonight. Shooting the ball well may not be enough.
Yeah, and Joe, you mentioned the Dolphins shooting percentages coming into the game today, and they're shooting pretty well. But then you look at this William Paterson team, and William Paterson's coming in shooting 43% from the field. So that's just going to be another challenge for the Dolphins here tonight. They're going to have to come out and really defend very well and rebound the basketball defensively. And, those are going to be a couple of things the Dolphins really need to do tonight against this Pioneer team and what's going to be their final contest before the holidays.
And taking a look at this William Paterson team, a team that scores 74 points a game against what has been very stout competition for them so far this season. You did mention their shooting percentages as well, Mike, up around 43% from the field and 34% from downtown. This Dolphins team has done a good job defensively all season, but this very well could be the toughest task this team faces defensively so far here in the 2017-2018 season. But as I said, going into that matchup against the Seahawks of Wagner College, I didn't expect the Dolphins to be able to bring the defensive intensity, or not necessarily not bring the intensity, but force the turnovers and get the results that they had seen from their defensive intensity going into that game. And they surprised me in that game and did just that. A game that many would argue the Dolphins should have won. They possessed a lead late in that game and were money from the line up until the last couple of minutes, where they missed 3 of their last 4 free throws. That really did them in, as Wagner College did hit free throws late in that game and really dominated the low post offensively. So that's another area the Dolphins really need to look to improve, defending the low post and keeping the opposition out of the paint and from scoring inside, as the Dolphins really did lose that game. Their lone loss of the season against Wagner College down in the paint.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting tonight, Joe, to see if the Dolphins can get any kind of offensive penetration against this Pioneer team. And, you want to try to be able to get the ball inside and get points inside, and it's certainly going to be a challenge for this Dolphin team here tonight.
And I'm taking a look here at the rebounding numbers for William Paterson. They don't possess as big of a rebounding margin as the Dolphins, though, again, that number can be misleading. They've faced a lot of teams with good size and some very stout competition, while the Dolphins have had 3 games against CUNYAC opponents that have really boosted their stats up quite a bit. A huge win, as I mentioned, over John Jay, a huge win over York, and then a big win over CCNY as well. The average margin of victory in those games pushing over 30 points. So huge wins for the Dolphins have inflated their stats a bit, but looking at the rebounding numbers, as I said, for William Paterson, they average about 41 rebounds a game with only about a +1 rebounding margin. But again, as I said before, the Dolphins did lose that game against the Seahawks in the paint, not only at the offensive end, but on the glass as well. Both the offensive and defensive boards were areas where the Seahawks excelled against the Dolphins, and that's an issue that needs to be corrected here tonight. Of course, the Dolphins don't possess the same size the Pioneers do, but they'll have to get it done down low, both defensively and on the glass, in order to come away with a victory.
Yeah, that's going to be the challenge for the Dolphins here tonight, Joe. It's going to be to try to get themselves in good position to get good high percentage shots offensively and try to do something to defend a Pioneer team that shoots the ball extremely well from the field.
And we'll talk a bit more about that William Paterson team when we return from break. When we return again, a rundown of the William Paterson roster, what they need to do to come away with a victory here tonight over the Dolphins. This is exclusive NCAA Division III women's basketball coverage here on CSI Sportsnet at csidolphins.com.
One-on-One is an independently owned and operated physical therapy center since 1999.
One-on-One has multiple offices located in Staten Island and in Brooklyn.
One-on-One has been getting people back to living pain-free for almost 14 years.
The number one goal of One-on-One is to provide quality health care for our community and continue to strive to be the best in our field.
One-on-One physical therapy gets our clients back to work, back to play, and back to function as soon as possible. We help them reclaim their life.
Right now at Tim Hortons, you can get a 10-pack of Timbits for $1.99. Get an irresistible mix of flavors in every perfectly shareable snack pack. Now that's what you'd call a sweet deal. Stop by Tim Hortons for a 10-pack today.
There are 16 million children struggling with hunger in America. That's 1 in 5 daughters, sons, neighbors, and classmates who don't know where their next meal is coming from. Yet billions of pounds of good food go to waste every year. It's time we do something about it. Feeding America is a nationwide network of food banks that helps provide meals to millions of kids and families in need. Visit feedingamerica.org to help them feed even more. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
Morning, Gary. We are GetSchooled.com. You want a college education, don't you?
You know you do.
Yeah, but I don't know where to start. That's why we're here. We're free, handsome.
I think we're breathtaking.
And here to guide you through every step of the way, starting with attendance. Gary, financial aid forms. Biology homework, G. I got this.
Is that Bran?
Colleges love extracurricular activities.
Chess really isn't my thing.
I got this. Doesn't matter. Go ahead. Picking a college, man. You and us. Go together like tacos and Tuesday.
And I love tacos.
Fire and ice.
Those don't really go together. Go to getschool.com for more info.
And we're back here on CSI Sportsnet as we get set to bring you coverage of the Dolphins and Pioneers here from the Sports and Recreation Center tonight. Tip-off at 7 p.m. And before we broke, Mike, we promised our viewers that we'd give them a rundown of this William Paterson roster, a roster that not all of our viewers might be familiar with. And what better place to start than with their leading scorer, Julie Ravito, who's averaging 16.1 points per game and shooting an impressive 47% from the field. I actually continue to take a look down this William Paterson roster, and just below her in points per game, the team's second leading scorer, Tori Wetzel, averaging 13.5 points a game, shooting 54% from the field. Another very impressive number. Ravito, a 5'6" junior guard, and Wetzel, a 6-foot senior forward. So a player like Tori Wetzel, one that could possibly give the Dolphins a lot of trouble inside, a very tall player who scores very efficiently, presumably down low in the paint using her size. I don't have the exact number for her and her points inside. I'll get that for you in just a few moments. But I think for the Dolphins, Mike, it begins with slowing down both Ravito and Wetzel here tonight.
Yeah, you know, Joe, you like your best players to be your best shooters, and Ravito and Wetzel kind of fit the bill. Ravito coming in shooting 47% on the year, averaging 16 points a game. She also leads the team with assists with nearly 5.5 assists a game. She's a good free throw shooter, 71%, and she does a good job from the three-point line, shooting 35%. Then you go down to Tori Wetzel, the 6-foot senior for the Pioneers. She's also playing very well this year, second on the team in scoring, averaging 13.5 points a game, but also a player that comes in shooting 54% from the field. And, you know, that's going to be the challenge for the Dolphins here this afternoon, Joe, to slow down the shooting percentages of the best players on William Paterson. And it's going to be even more challenging because they have several players that shoot pretty well from the field, and they're very diverse in their offensive attack. They have a lot of players that score points and rebound. And, you know, for the Dolphins here tonight, it's going to take an effort from every player on the roster.
It absolutely will, Mike. And another key to the game for William Paterson, something that they need to do in order to come away with a victory, and we mentioned it during our earlier portion of the pregame, is for them to protect the basketball. The Dolphins, a team that, as we've mentioned several times, forces a lot of turnovers and capitalizes on those turnovers by turning them into easy baskets. The Pioneers come in averaging just shy of 23 turnovers per game while forcing about 26. So a positive 3 turnover margin for the Pioneers coming into tonight's action, and their points off turnovers scored per game at over 25, while only allowing 18. So this is a team that typically does protect the basketball pretty well and capitalizes on the turnovers they force. So a very similar style could emerge for these two teams here tonight. If they're able to force the turnovers they're accustomed to, it very well could come down to which team does a better job of protecting the basketball.
Yeah, and, you know, there's some interesting stats, Joe, for the Pioneers here early in the season. They haven't won a game at home. They're 0-3. They've won all 4 of their road games, and they're 1-0 on a neutral floor. So an interesting little quirk for the Pioneers here early in the season. Their last game was a win on the road against Stockton as they went down to Pomona and were able to escape with a 1-point victory. But their last 2 home games, first on December 6th to Montclair State, they played a good game against the number 25 team in the country, trailed by only 3 at halftime, but Montclair State was able to use a big third quarter and go on to win that game by 9 points. And then their previous home game, they dropped to Rowan University. So this is a Pioneer team, Joe, that is undefeated on the road, hasn't won a game at home, and are looking to continue that here tonight.
And not only do Julie Ravito and Tori Wetzel provide scoring punch for the Pioneers, but they have players down the roster who get consistent minutes and can also put points up on the scoreboard while shooting efficiently. I took another look down the roster, and you see players like Cece Green, who shoot 46% from the field. Sierra Strong shooting 64% from the field, albeit on limited field goal attempts. But once again, Danica DeFrank shooting nearly 44% from the field. So a lot of players here on this William Paterson team that shoot the ball very efficiently. And for the Dolphins, the effort on on defense has to come not only in forcing turnovers, but in forcing some lower quality shots as well for this Pioneers team, because if you allow them quality looks, looking at these numbers, it seems like they'll be able to convert on those opportunities.
Yeah, and Joe, with their distinct size advantage, I expect them to pound the ball inside. Pioneers are led by head coach Erin Monahan, and she's in her 25th season, so you're not going to put any surprises on the Pioneers here tonight. And, all you have to do is look across the floor to know that you have a distinct size advantage here tonight, and I expect the Pioneers to take advantage of it. I expect them to try to spread out the floor, put two players down low in the post, and try to pound the ball in there. And, the question is for the Dolphins, are they going to be able to stop that here tonight? Slow it down a little bit and keep yourself in the game using your speed and your ability to shoot from the outside.
And I mentioned before the Dolphins, and for them the importance of shooting the ball well from three-point range, but there's also another aspect of their game that at times has been lacking, and that's been converting on their easier opportunities around the basket. At times we've seen the Dolphins get the ball inside very effectively, but failed to convert on their attempts around the rim, and that's something that I think the Dolphins will need to do well here tonight. As I've also mentioned in previous broadcasts, with a size disadvantage, oftentimes comes a speed advantage. So the Dolphins may have that quick first step that allows them to get to the rim more easily, and if they can convert on those opportunities inside and generate some points in the paint, something they've done well throughout this winning streak, they should be able to work against that size and hopefully force those players on the interior for William Paterson to work defensively. If you force them to work harder defensively, it may limit their effectiveness at the offensive end. So if you're the Dolphins, you don't want to let those players with great size on the inside for William Paterson get off easy at the defensive end. You don't want to go one and done, putting up three-pointers before the right time. You want to see the ball move and generate good possessions if you're CSI. Make those bigs on the interior work for William Paterson, and hopefully you can limit their effectiveness offensively as well.
Yeah, and let's turn our attention just to the offensive side for a minute, Joe, for the Dolphins. Dolphins obviously led by their all-time leading scorer, Christina Passatoro. Christina coming in averaging 23.5 points a game and nearly 4 assists. And, Joe, the Dolphins are going to need a big effort from Christina tonight, as well as a lot of other players, because it's like I mentioned before, it's going to take an effort from up and down this roster here tonight to play with the Pioneers here at the Tank at CSI.
And you mentioned the effort the Dolphins need from Christina Passatoro. That high-level effort has been there all season long. In many games, she has played the full 40 minutes, including that matchup with the Wagner College Seahawks. And we mentioned the impressive shooting percentages of some of the Pioneers. Christina Passatoro comes into this game shooting over 46%. Victoria Craig comes in shooting just shy of 46%. And Jackie Callie shooting nearly 42%. So a trio of Dolphin starters shooting the ball very well from the field this season, and they'll need more of that here tonight, but especially the scoring punch from Christina Passatoro. As you mentioned, she has been the Dolphins' leading scorer this season at 23.5 points a game. The Dolphins will also need a strong effort from Samantha Flecker, not only at the offensive end, but on the glass as well. She's been a big-time rebounder for the Dolphins, and it just never seems as if she's boxed out at the offensive end. Always follows shots and comes away with several offensive boards. So Flecker could prove big for the Dolphins on the glass. They'll need her scoring as well. That goes along with scoring from the other Dolphin starters, Christina Passatoro, Victoria Cray, and Jacqueline Callie, who for the Dolphins so far this season, those 5 starters are the 5 leading scorers. I also be remiss if I didn't mention Angelique Price as well for the Dolphins. Also in the starting lineup, Price comes in shooting just under 38% and just under 22% from downtown. I'm sure the Dolphins would like to see a better number from her from three-point range. But that's a number that we can be sure she'll probably improve on over the course of the season, as she has been a better three-point shooter than that throughout her Dolphins career.
And, Samantha Flecker coming off of a 20-point game against CCNY in the Dolphins' last game. And, they're going to need a big effort out of Samantha here tonight offensively. And, Angelique Price, who's been a little quiet on the offensive side this year, Joe, for the Dolphins. As you mentioned, Dolphins going to be looking for big things out of Angelique tonight as well.
And I think another big issue the Dolphins may or may not have to contend with, depending on how this game goes, is foul trouble. We've seen players getting in foul trouble far too often from them, specifically Angelique Price, and that may very well be why her offensive numbers are a bit down from last year. She simply hasn't gotten the same minutes as the other starters so far this season, in large part because of foul trouble. And we've seen foul trouble really force head coach Tim Shanahan to get several different players in there, and perhaps groups of players that aren't that familiar playing with one another. And it's been foul trouble that has done the Dolphins in, especially in that game against Wagner College, as I had to think about it for a moment. But in that game against Wagner College, players once again getting in foul trouble early, forcing the Dolphins to go to the bench. And that little bit of scoring punch that you lose at times for the Dolphins, the bench has struggled to put points up on the scoreboard. Could really cost you in a game like this, where these two teams presumably will go back and forth in what should be a very tight-knit affair. I actually should note the other day, too, the Dolphins bench in that game against CCNY went scoreless for several minutes down the stretch. Of course, that game was well in hand, but the Dolphins will certainly need more efficiency in scoring from their bench. And if they can get that here tonight, that could be the X factor in putting the Dolphins over the top in this game.
Yeah, and Joe, it's the final game for the Dolphins before Christmas comes up, so they won't have another game now for just over 2 weeks. And, they're hot. They've won their last 5 games in a row, and boy, what a great way to go into the holiday season if they could come away and be able to defeat William Paterson here tonight.
Well, they often talk about basketball as a game where you can rectify a loss very quickly within a day or two right after you suffer a defeat. That won't be the case here for the Dolphins. If they were to drop this game, you'd love to see them extend their winning streak into the holiday recess and come back later this month on December 27th against NJCU here at home, riding what would be a 6-game winning streak, but they'll have to get through a very tough William Paterson team to make that happen.
Yeah, and Joe, for the Dolphins, the non-conference schedule is starting to wind down a little bit. They have 3 consecutive non-conference games coming up before New Year's, and then only 1 non-conference game after New Year's. The remainder of their schedule, once we get past January 1st, all in conference. So, for the Dolphins, a good opportunity to see how they fare against some non-conference opponents before they hunker down into the meat of the conference schedule, which picks up in earnest on January 3rd.
And it's been so far so good for the Dolphins outside of the CUNYAC Conference. Wins earlier this season against New Rochelle, Centenary, and NYU, and a very strong showing against Wagner College. Game the Dolphins only dropped by 5, and then great success against the conference as well over the last 2 weeks. Huge wins over John Jay, York, and CCNY. So really it's been success across the board for the Dolphins here so far this season. They would love to see that continue here tonight, and we can't understate the importance of going into this holiday recess coming off a win. Of course, if you're the Dolphins, you go in 7-2, that's a very strong start to the season, but I'm sure 8-1 looks a whole lot better to this team.
Yeah, it really would, and this is, Joe, to me by far the best opponent the Dolphins have faced this year, and a real good opportunity to see how they fare against a strong Division III non-conference opponent. So a big game for the Dolphins here tonight. Not really important, obviously, in terms of the CUNYAC Conference or the conference schedule, but a good opportunity for the Dolphins to see where they're stacking up against one of the finer teams in the region.
And I think a good place to look for areas where the Dolphins can succeed and come away with a victory here tonight is that game against Wagner College. The areas where they fell short. Overall, the free throw shooting was excellent, but down the stretch, they simply didn't convert from the line. That's one area. Also on the glass, the Dolphins in the second half just didn't bring it like they did in half number 1. They kept that rebounding battle in the margin very close between themselves and the Seahawks in the second half. They couldn't do that. Also, the three-point shooting may need to be consistent from start to finish. We've seen the Dolphins get hot from three-point range in spurts, but they need that consistent effort throughout the entirety of the game, and likely will need a very strong effort from downtown here tonight. And if they can come out and force the turnovers that we've seen them forcing so far this season and convert those turnovers into points, you have to like their chances. But William Paterson, as I mentioned before, a team that also forces a lot of turnovers and capitalizes on them, while at the same time taking care of the basketball, it may be the team that avoids simple mistakes that comes away with the victory this evening.
Yeah, and Joe, for the Dolphins, it might be the night for Rosa Perone to step out a little bit, Joe. She's coming into the game here tonight. She's averaging just over 8 minutes a game, and her rebounds and scoring are down a little bit, averaging 3.5 rebounds a game. But the Dolphins are going to need Rosa with all the size on that Pioneer team to be able to come out on the floor and be able to stay out on the floor and hopefully stay out of foul trouble.
And I think it's a fair bet that we will see Rosa Perone in this game for more than about 8.5 minutes, which is her average this season here tonight. And also another player on the Dolphins bench who's provided not only a scoring punch inside, but good work on the glass is Diana Todaro. She's done a good job scoring around the rim and playing physically around the basket, and the Dolphins probably will need that physicality here tonight. I think it's a safe bet also that she will find her way into this game off the bench and if the rebounding battle is going the way of the Pioneers, it could be fairly early. But for the Dolphins, again, rebounding will be key. You mentioned Rosa Perron could play a big role in that if she's able to get into this game, and we presume she will. Also, Diana Todaro could give the Dolphins some of the rebounding that they'll be looking for here tonight, and perhaps some bench scoring as well. As we've mentioned several times already this season, the Dolphin starters play huge minutes, and they're going to need some more scoring from their bench than they've gotten so far this season in order to come away with a victory here against a very talented team tonight. And when we return, we will have the starting lineups for you as they get set to play the national anthem and introduce the starters here at the Sports and Recreation Center. Dolphins and Pioneers from the College of Staten Island when we return here on CSI Sportsnet at csidolphins.com.
Alvin and the Chipmunks want to remind you, bacteria can hide in food and make you ill.
Wow.
But you can keep bacteria from ruining your day with 4 simple steps. Clean.
I'm waiting for the rinse cycle.
Separate. Cook.
Fire in the hole!
And chill.
We chipmunks are notoriously tidy.
Check your steps. The road trip to food safety starts at foodsafety.gov.
So they say it's a man's world? I don't see anybody's name on it.
While they were doing their thing, we slowly changed ours.
Today, women can do anything men can do. And there's one thing we're even better at.
Of all the things you've done with your bike, donating it to Goodwill may be the most incredible of all. Your donations help fund job placement and training for people in your community, which means your stuff can be more powerful than you think. Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs.
Hart, what's going on? I'm leaving. Why? What did I do? Not enough. You constantly ignore me. You barely eat anything healthy. You're half as active as you used to be. The pressure is just too much. I quit. Okay, I get it. I'll do better. Just, please, don't leave. Okay. But remember, if I go, you go.
Listen to your heart. Don't let it quit on you. Uncontrolled high blood pressure could lead to stroke, heart attack, or death. Get yours to a healthy range before it's too late.
Alvin and the Chipmunks want to remind you, bacteria can hide in food and make you ill.
Wow.
But you can keep bacteria.
Right now at Tim Hortons, you can get a 10-pack of Timbits for $1.99. Get an irresistible mix of flavors in every perfectly shareable snack pack. Now that's what you'd call a sweet deal. Stop by Tim Hortons for a 10-pack today.
And we're back from the Sports and Recreation Center as we're just moments away from tip-off between the Dolphins and the Pioneers of William Paterson University. And as the starters are introduced on the court right in front of us, my broadcast partner, Mike Babuski, will bring you those starters.
Thanks a lot, Joe. First for the visiting William Paterson Pioneers, coming in with a record on the year and undefeated at home, 5-3, undefeated on the road as they're 5-0. On the road and the neutral floor. It'll be number 22, CeCe Green, number 24, Carolyn Hill, number 25, Simone Small, number 30, Tori Wetzel, and number 35, Julie Rovito. For the College of Staten Island, coming into today's game with a record of 7-1 overall, undefeated in conference play, and 5 consecutive wins. It'll be Christina Passatoro, Angelique Price, Victoria Cray, Jacqueline Callie, and Samantha Flecker. As you see the 5 starters out on your screen, Joe, as the Dolphins look to continue to extend their winning streak to 6 in their final game before the Christmas vacation.
And we spoke about several things the Dolphins would need to do to come away with a victory here tonight, but we narrowed it down to 3, Mike. What are your 3 keys to the game?
Well, Joe, we mentioned it before. For the Dolphins, they're going to need to grind it out here tonight for 40 minutes. The last few games, they had an opportunity to play against teams that they had distinct advantages against. Here tonight, against a much stronger, much bigger William Paterson team, they're going to have to be ready to play a possession-by-possession, grounded-out game. We mentioned the shooting ability of the Pioneers, including their 2 leading scorers. They have to defend against those tall William Paterson players that get all those high percentage shots and see if they can reduce their shooting percentage a little bit. Finally, Joe, the Dolphins are going to need some secondary scoring. You have Christina Passatoro. She's averaging her 23.5 points a game, but you know that the Pioneers are going to come out with a plan to defend Chrissy here tonight. The Dolphins are going to need secondary scoring from players like Angelique Price, Samantha Flecker, obviously, coming off of that 20-point game, Victoria Cray, and players off the bench like Diana Tadero to compete against the Pioneers here for 40 minutes.
And I think you summed it up very well, Mike, as the Dolphins will be wearing their Columbia blue uniforms tonight. The Pioneers in black, and it is William Paterson that win the jump ball. They will move from right to left. It's Ravito with it, swings it over to the left wing for Wetzel. Wetzel drives down the left wing, kicks it over to the corner, back up top, winds up in the hands of Ravito. Her shot no good, the offensive rebound to the Pioneers, and it is Tori Wetzel who puts it back up and in.
So Wetzel gets a offensive rebound and the first points of the game.
And the Dolphins commit an early turnover, so a turnover and an offensive rebound allowed already for CSI, Mike.
Yeah, not the quick start that the Dolphins were looking for, but an opportunity to defend here on the Pioneers' second possession.
It's Ravito who brings the ball up and passes it up to CeCe Green. With it in the corner now is Carolyn Hill. Ravito feeds it inside to the middle. It goes back up to the wing, and now contesting for the ball there is Flecker trying to take it away from Hill in the corner. And it goes out of bounds. Possession will stay with the Pioneers.
And that's the kind of defense, Joe, you were talking a little bit about during the pregame show. Dolphins looking to use their quickness.
Green kicks it over to Ravito. It's inside, and small shot no good. Rebounded by Callie. Callie pushes the ball up ahead to Passatoro. Passatoro finds Price underneath, and her shot is rejected. And that one is out of bounds off of the Pioneers. Possession will stay with the Dolphins.
And that's going to be the 31st block of the season for the Pioneers, but it'll remain Dolphin basketball.
So the Pioneers prevent the easy transition basket as Cray looking for Callie inside. Sees that ball bounce away, but right back to her. Passatoro has it now. Cray dribbles it back up top. The Dolphins will reset. Cray calls out a play. Passatoro screens for Callie on the left side. Callie now dribbling and looking. And I believe a foul was called as Callie attempted to drive down the center of the lane. Foul charge to Carolyn Hill. That's her first.
Yeah, so Hill picks up the first foul, and Cray will inbound with a fresh 30.
Cray looking inside. Finds Price in the corner. Price drives. Her shot no good inside. And the rebound goes to Simone Small.
Nice move by Angelique, not able to finish.
Ravito has it. Gives it up to Small, back to Ravito on the left wing. She surveys the floor, kicks it over to Green, who swings it down into the corner. Wetzel cross-court pass off the fingertips of Ravito and out of bounds. Possession to the Dolphins.
Yeah, nice defensive play by the Dolphins to force the turnover and their opportunity with the basketball.
Cray will bring it up for CSI. 2-0 our score here in the early minutes of this one. First quarter from the Sports and Recreation Center. Flecker finds Callie cutting inside. She toes her way along the baseline, finds Passatoro open for 3. Her right wing 3 no good. Rebounded by Ravito.
Yeah, big opportunity there for Christina.
Ravito tried to push it ahead. Her pass is intercepted, and then Cray's layup no good. Rebounded by Small. Green has it now. Dribbling along the sideline, gives it up to Ravito. Ravito looks to be calling out a play here as she swings it over to the wing. Green looking for somewhere to pass it. Gives it to Wetzel. It's swung down to Ravito in the left corner. Her 3 no good. That one tipped by Passatoro, and out of bounds it goes. Possession stays with the Pioneers.
Yeah, so the Pioneers will get a second chance opportunity. Both teams starting off shooting a little bit slowly here tonight.
And the inbound finds its way quickly to Simone Small, who puts it up and in. And the Pioneers now lead 4-0 as the Dolphins look to push. Passaturo drives, kicks it to Callie in the right corner. Deep 2, no good. Rebounded by Cray.
Dolphins now 0 for 5 from the floor, missing a couple of open looks, Joe.
Cray has it now near the half-court line, being pressured by Green. She gives it up to Callie on the left wing, looking for Price inside. A good pass, mishandled by Price. She tried to get rid of it, presumably over to Flecker, but lost control of it. Maybe even stepped on the baseline. Either way, it is Pioneers basketball.
Second turnover, both teams with 2 in the early going.
Revito being defended by Cray. She crosses the half-court line, picks up her dribble, and gives it up to Wetzel. Over to Hill, top of the arc. Now Green on the right wing. Revito finds Small inside. She's stripped, and Callie comes away with it on the fast break. Bounce pass over to Passatoro. Her shot is rejected by Wetzel, and the Dolphins will inbound along the baseline once again.
Nice defensive play that time by Torrey. The Dolphins came down with numbers, but Passatoro's shot was blocked.
A good job so far by the Pioneers of shutting down the Dolphins in transition as that pass towards the inside is deflected out of bounds, and once again the Dolphins will inbound from the baseline. It will be Cray looking to inbound. Once again looking to make the pass inside. Pioneers shut that down well. Passatoro has it. Top of the arc, looks to drive to her left, gives it up to Price. Price now drives to her left, gets inside with a nice move. Once again, can't finish at the rim, but it's the Dolphins with the rebound. Callie now drives. And that is an offensive foul called against Jacqueline Callie. So, Mike, a pair of easy opportunities for the Dolphins inside. They fail to convert.
Yeah, you know, Joe, that was a little bit of a tough call, I thought, maybe against Jackie. I'm not sure if we'll have an opportunity to get the replay. Dolphins 0 for 7 from the field, Joe. Just 2 of 5 for William Paterson. All 4 points on second chance opportunities.
As Revito looks to drive inside, traveling is called as a couple of players got tangled up following that screen. A hard screen there at the top of the key, but it's Dolphins basketball as Cray takes the inbound. And once again, looking to move up the court quickly, finds Flecker on the left wing up to Passaturo. Passaturo passes it down to Callie in the right corner. She's defended by Hill. It's swung back up to Flecker. She drives to her right, kicks it back to Callie. Right wing 3, no good. And that one is rebounded by Revito, who is then fouled by Samantha Flecker.
Yeah, and the Dolphins really just struggling to score as we have an opportunity to take a look at that offensive foul. And boy, Joe, I'm even more sure than I was before that was not a good call against Jackie Callie. But, you know, again, for the Dolphins, they got to find a way to start hitting some of their shots, Joe. Still looking for their first points nearly 4 minutes into the game.
Well, it hasn't been a lack of quality looks as the Dolphins steal the inbound. Cray goes up inside and finishes strong with the contact and one, count the basket. Victoria Cray will go to the line as the Dolphins have their first field goal made here with 5:58 to go in the first quarter.
And, you know, Joe, one thing the Dolphins have done very well so far is force Pioneer turnovers. The Pioneers have been very careless with the basketball. They've already turned it over 5 times. That time Cray made the steal, made the layup, and has a chance for a 3-point play.
And I suspected that we would see more of Diana Todaro in this game. She enters early as Cray converts the and one. Dolphins only trail by a single point. Our score 4-3, just over 4 minutes into this first quarter. Revito kicks it into the left corner for Wetzel. Her jump shot good from the left corner.
So Wetzel gets her first basket of the game, Joe, to open the Pioneer lead to 3.
And the Dolphins move it up the court very quickly as it's Cray to Flecker, who finishes inside with the left hand. Dolphins trail by 1 once again, defending strongly as Green loses the ball. Todaro comes away with it. Passatoro looking to run, crosses over. 1-player advantage for the Dolphins, and it's Flecker, the extra player who the Dolphins had down on the right block, finishing at the rim once again. Dolphins lead 7-6.
Yeah, you know, Joe, this is a very experienced Dolphin team, and they're coming out and they're starting to play better and getting a little bit more confidence, getting their first lead of the game, and now the Pioneers will turn the ball over once again.
And the call was a travel against Carolyn Hill. So it will be Dolphins ball. A pair of strong finishes inside by Samantha Flecker. The Dolphins looking to push the pace on a pair of possessions back-to-back. As you get a look at the turnover count, the Pioneers already with 7 first-quarter turnovers. We mentioned during the pregame they average about 23, on pace for about 5 more than that here early in this game. Still 5 minutes to go in quarter number 1. Cray surveys the court. Her pass, a dangerous one, is deflected, then off the leg of Price and over the sideline, so possession to William Paterson.
Yeah, and that was a nice play by Rovito that time, Joe, to knock the ball off Angelique Price and force the Dolphin turnover.
Pioneers done a good job getting in the passing lanes, not making it easy for the Dolphins to find the open player on the perimeter or inside. As the Pioneers now have the ball on the left wing. They swing it up top to Green. Rovito now has it right wing. She's doubled quickly. Wetzel has it. About the free throw line, tries to throw it into the left corner. That pass intended for Asani is deflected by Flecker. And the Pioneers will inbound with 10 on the shot clock. Green has it, 8 on the shot clock now as Asani drives, finds her way into the paint. Floater attempt up, no good. Rebound fought for by Tadaro, who takes it away from Wetzel. She finds Price ahead of the field, and she can't convert, but Passatoro's there for the offensive rebound. Cray over to Passatoro, left wing three from Passatoro is good.
Yeah, and you wondered when Christina would hit her first shot, and she buries the three-pointer, and the Dolphins, in the middle of a run, take their biggest lead of the game, 10-6.
And after a bit of a sluggish start by the Dolphins, they've now jumped out to a 4-point lead. It will be a 30-second timeout for the Pioneers, so we'll stay right here. And, Mike, what have you liked that you've seen so far from the Dolphins, especially during this run, which you've seen them take a 4-point lead?
Yeah, you know, Joe, this is a very experienced CSI Dolphin team led by Christina Passatoro and Samantha Flecker, and you know, you can see that they're coming out and they're playing with confidence, and I think they've come out and realized now that they could do some things against this Pioneer team, and their speed is causing the Pioneers a little bit of problems on the offensive end. I'm a little bit surprised at how much the Pioneers have turned over the basketball, and you know, for William Paterson, they're going to have to find a way to handle the basketball a little bit better, or the Dolphins are going to give them a lot of trouble.
We just saw the field goals made and attempted by these two teams. The shots taken disparity is notable, as the Dolphins have taken several more shots than the Pioneers early in this game. Just under 4 minutes to go here in the first quarter, as it's Asani who has it at the top of the arc, swings it over to Rovito, looking for Hill inside. Her pass deflected and stolen once again by the Dolphins. Here comes Angelique Price. Finds Flecker in the left corner. Flecker over to Tadaro. Tadaro to Cray, and now Passatoro in the right corner. Drives to her left, and she's fouled as she took that ball inside the arc. The foul will be charged to number 24, Carolyn Hill.
Yeah, so Hill is going to pick up her second personal, so that's two quick ones on Carolyn. She's probably going to check out of the game, and, you know, another turnover for the Pioneers, Joe, as they have 8 turnovers already in 6.5 minutes of play.
And Hill will be replaced by Brianna Brooks, as this time the Dolphins are able to make that interior pass off the inbound. It's Cray to Flecker, who once again finishes underneath. That's 6 points for Samantha Flecker. The Dolphins' lead is 6, as that offensive foul is called against the Pioneers. Charge against Julie Rovito. A nice defensive play there by the Dolphins, and yet another turnover for the Pioneers.
Yeah, and that was Diana Tadaro, Joe, that drew that charging foul. She just adds so much to this Dolphin team. She's made a couple of good plays already in just the first couple of minutes that she's checked into the game. The Dolphins actually have her under the basket, Joe, in their zone defense.
And I think that's the right place for her. As I mentioned during the pregame, the physicality she brings to this team that they've lacked at times so far this season. As she now has the basketball, kicks it up to Cray. Cray drives to her left. That's her strong hand side, and she finishes with the left hand. And if you're playing defensively, you have to recognize that Victoria Cray is a left-handed player.
Yeah, 11 points now between Samantha Flecker and Victoria Cray. Dolphins now by 8.
In the corner with it is the recently checked in Brianna Brooks. Gives it up to CeCe Green. She swings it to her left, putting up the three is Sihana Asani. She misses. It's rebounded by Flecker, who pushes it up to Passatoro. Passatoro on the break. Can't finish, but it's rebounded by Tadaro. Now Passatoro puts up a three from the left corner off the pass from Tadaro. No good. Rebounded by the Pioneers. They look to move forward quickly before CeCe Green slows it down. Looked as if she lost her handle there for a moment. Giordano gives it up to Asani. Asani puts up another floater. It's no good. That's her second floater attempt here in this first quarter. Both have not gone down. Nicole and Bessie gives it up to Christina Passatoro. Cross-court pass to Flecker. Three from the right wing. No good. Rebounded by Nicole and Bessie. Diana Tadaro puts up the mid-range jump shot. That's no good. And Bessie fighting for the rebound once again, and she'll win that battle as it's deflected out of bounds by Alyssa Giordano. Possession will stay with the Dolphins. And it looks like a timeout has been called as the Dolphins are on an 11-0 run right here. And the timeout has been called by the Dolphins following that 11-0 run. So timeout Dolphins, our score 14-6. The Dolphins have jumped out to an 8-point lead. And once again, a 30-second timeout. So we'll stay right here. And, Mike, what do you make of this Dolphins effort over this 11-0 run?
Well, you know, the Dolphins are getting just what they need. Experienced backcourt play from Victoria Cray. She has a three-point play and another basket on a beautiful drive to the basket. And then Samantha Flecker, the player that doesn't always get all the attention she deserves because she does so many different things to sacrifice her game to benefit the team. She leads all scorers with 6 points already. So a great start for the Dolphins. As you mentioned, you saw on your graphic, the Dolphins in the middle of an 11-0 run with the basketball.
And also the Dolphins are winning the rebounding battle. Something else very notable, the rebound count 12-7 in favor of the Dolphins right now as Passaturo's three no good. Rebound to the Pioneers. Asani dribbles it across half court looking inside for Wetzel. And Wetzel's shot no good, but she is fouled. I believe the foul call is on Diana Todaro. It is, and that is her first.
Yeah, that time the Pioneers were able to get the ball inside to Wetzel. Todaro picks up the foul, so now she'll go to the line to shoot two.
And the first of two free throws for Wetzel is good. That narrows the margin to 7.
Wetzel coming into the game shooting 59% from the line.
And Wetzel's second free throw also good. Dolphins lead is now 6. Our score 14-8 here in the first quarter. It's been a strong first quarter for the Dolphins as Cray pushes the ball inside and then kicks it out to Passaturo. Passaturo finds Flecker, who feeds it inside to Todaro, and Todaro's shot from the low post is good.
Yeah, Todaro off to a good start again for the Dolphins. Picks up our first basket of the afternoon.
And the Dolphins scoring very well in the paint here in this first quarter. They've won the battle on the interior, both on the glass and offensively, scoring the ball inside. As Asani puts up a three-pointer, that's no good. And that rebound tipped by Brooks right into the hands of Alyssa Giordano, who scores. And Dolphins lead back down to 6 as once again the Dolphins looking to play quickly. Flecker finds Passaturo. Her three-pointer no good, but another offensive rebound for Nicole and Bessie.
Bessie playing great since coming in for the Dolphins, rebounding the basketball.
As Cray looks to drive left baseline, she is fouled. And the foul was charged to number 11, Danica DeFrank, who checked in following that last timeout.
And the Pioneers really struggling offensively, Joe. They have only scored 10 points here in the quarter, 6 of them on second chance opportunities.
And that last foul will send Victoria Cray to the line. Her first free throw, no good. It's been a strong first quarter so far for Victoria Cray. 2 for 3 from the field. 5 points and make it 6. She connects on the second free throw. Dolphins lead is 7. Dolphins not applying the same full court pressure we've seen from them, but in the half court they've defended extremely well, forcing many turnovers already here in this game and turning those forced turnovers into points. As that one off the hands of Asani in the right corner. It's stolen by Flecker, who finds Passaturo up ahead. Passaturo's layup no good, rebounded by Todaro. Yet another offensive rebound for the Dolphins.
Yeah, Dolphins lead by 7, and they've missed several layups inside, Joe.
Flecker has it on the right wing, swings it to Cray on the left wing. She drives, finds Mbessi in the corner. Now Mbessi looking to drive, puts one up off the front of the rim, no good, but a foul is called. And it seems like, yep, Nicole Mbessi is heading to the line for 2 free throws. That whistle came after the ball hit the rim. But indeed, Mbessi will shoot 2, looking to extend the Dolphins' lead to 9.
Yeah, that foul's going to be on Asani. And as you mentioned, Joe, Mbessi will go to the line for the Dolphins here to shoot 2.
And Mbessi's first free throw off the front of the rim, no good. A bit of an unorthodox free throw shooting motion for Nicole Mbessi.
Yeah, she's only now 2 of 9 from the free throw line, Joe, on the season.
Not much arc on that first free throw. And the second free throw attempt is up and no good. It rattles in and out. So the Dolphins' lead remains 7. 25 seconds to go here in the first quarter as Asani brings the ball across half court for the Pioneers. Giordano has it now back to Asani. Wetzel was calling for it inside. It winds up in the corner and back up to the left wing. Up top with it is DeFrank. 8 seconds to go in the quarter. Giordano surveys the floor, finds Asani. Step back three-pointer, no good. And it's rebounded by Christina Passaturo, which will bring the first quarter to a close. A very strong first quarter for the Dolphins. Their lead is 7. Our score after 1. The Dolphins 17 and the Pioneers 10. And With that, we will take it to break as we get set for the second quarter of action. The Dolphins take a 7-point lead into quarter number 2. Our score after 1, the Dolphins 17, the Pioneers 10. We'll be right back with more NCAA Division III women's basketball coverage here on CSI Sportsnet at csidolphins.com.
One-on-One is an independently owned and operated physical therapy center since 1999.
One-on-One has multiple offices located in Staten Island and in Brooklyn.
One-on-One has been getting people back to living pain-free for almost 14 years.
The number one goal of One-on-One is to provide quality health care for our community and continue to strive to be the best in our field.
One-on-one physical therapy gets our clients back to work, back to play, and back to function as soon as possible. We help them reclaim their life.
Second quarter just about to begin here at the Sports and Recreation Center. Dolphins lead over the Pioneers is 7. Our score, the Dolphins 17 and the Pioneers 10 after one quarter of play. And after about maybe 2 or 3 minutes of a sluggish start for the Dolphins, it was all CSI for the remainder of that first quarter.
Yeah, the Dolphins put up 23 shots in that first quarter, Joe, going 7 of 23, just 12 shots for the Pioneers. They were 4 of 12.
And Megan McEwen will come in off the bench for the Dolphins to begin quarter number 2, giving Victoria Cray a breather. A strong first quarter for Cray, who scored 6 points. Samantha Flecker also had 6 in the first. Christina Pasaturo with 3 on only 1 of 8 shooting in quarter number 1. Also on the floor for the Dolphins now, Nicole and Bessie, Diana Todaro, Samantha Flecker, and Christina Pasaturo, along with the recently checked in Megan McEwen. And McEwen finds Flecker inside, and a foul is called. Foul called on number 4, Sihana Asani. And the foul is called a shooting foul as Flecker was looking to put up that shot once again off the inbound. And if you're the Pioneers, you need to do a better job of cutting off those passes into the interior on inbounds, as the Dolphins have been able to make that pass several times already.
Yeah, Flecker adds her 7th point for the Dolphins.
Free throw number 2 upcoming for Samantha Flecker. It is no good. Rebounded by Tori Wetzel. Julie Ravito brings the ball up for the Pioneers. Swings it over to the left wing. Giordano has it. Winds up back in the hands of Ravito. Ravito surveys the floor. Gives it up to Brianna Brooks. Brooks drives to her left. They find Ravito in the corner. Late close by Pasaturo. The three-pointer is no good. And Pasaturo finds Flecker ahead of the field. Another opportunity for Flecker on the fast break, and once again she converts.
Yeah, and Samantha continues her strong play tonight, Joe. She's 4 or 5 from the field. She now has 9.
Flecker showing good dexterity, finishing with both the left and right hands. As right there, Diana Todaro forces a turnover, intercepting that pass. Dolphins slow it down a bit before Nicole and Bessie finds Christina Pasaturo. Her three-pointer way short, but Todaro, who came away with the rebound initially, was stripped by Brianna Brooks. Here come the Pioneers. It's Ravito. She finds Tori Wetzel. Wetzel kicks it back out. And Tennille Stewart gives it up to Ravito. Bounce pass inside for Wetzel. She can't convert on the easy layup, but her second attempt off of the offensive board is good. Score now 20-12 in favor of the Dolphins. It's Flecker with it in the right corner. McEwen surveys, gives it back up to Flecker. Flecker back over to McEwen. McEwen drives to her right. Lobs it over in the corner to Todaro. Todaro playing with her back to the basket. And she can't finish off the turnaround jumper. Rebound to Alyssa Giordano. Dolphins do a good job getting back as Ravito picked up the ball and then put it back down before finding Tori Wetzel inside. Score now 20-14. The Dolphins, though, not looking to slow things down at all, even off of a made basket. They're playing very quickly. McEwen defended by Stewart. She gets a play call from the bench. The Dolphins look to set that up. As the ball is in Bessie's hands, they're looking for Flecker inside. That pass knocked away. It's the Pioneers that force the turnover. And yet another steal for Diana Todaro. As she looks to get ahead of Stewart, goes up with the left hand, no good.
Yeah, Dolphins missing a lot of layups on the inside, Joe, as the Pioneers come back.
And that is Brianna Brooks who converts inside. Dolphins lead now trimmed to 4. These two teams playing very quickly. The Pioneers didn't look to play as quickly in the first quarter. Perhaps that was an adjustment they made in between the first and second. If it is, it has shown so far here in quarter number 2. As Bessie has it. Dribbles to her left, gives it up to Flecker. Her three-pointer no good. Rebounded once again by the Pioneers, who are looking to run. It's Ravito. She drives inside and puts it up around Flecker and in. Dolphins lead now trimmed to 2. The Dolphins not looking to slow it down, and that pass from McEwen right over the head of Tadaro.
Yeah, and the Pioneers in the middle of an 8-0 run here, Joe, to get themselves back to within a basket. The Dolphins missing some opportunities on the inside and turning the ball over. Pioneers doing a good job starting to work the ball inside a little bit more.
And the Dolphins' baskets here in the second quarter have come off of turnovers, as you'll see right here. Samantha Flecker finishing in transition as the Dolphins come away with the ball now. Passaturo, right wing 3, off the back rim and out. Rebounded by the Pioneers, but the Dolphins have been a bit stagnant in the half court, and if the Pioneers can limit their turnovers, they should find their way right back into this game, as they have now tied the game here at 20, and it's been a stark contrast from William Paterson from what we saw from them in quarter number 1. As it is another 30-second timeout, this one called by the Dolphins, so we'll stay right here. And as I was saying, Mike, in the first quarter for the Pioneers, it was a lot of turnovers committed. They have committed some turnovers here in the second quarter. I believe it's a pair, maybe 3 now after that last one. But the Dolphins only have 4 points here in quarter number 2. And if the Dolphins have to play in the half court, William Paterson has found a way to slow them down in their half court offense.
And, you know, the problem the Dolphins are having right now is they need to find a way to get Christina Passatoro scoring the basketball a little bit better. She's just 1 of 10 from the field here. The Dolphins 8 of 29 overall. William Paterson 9 of 19, but they've really picked up that shooting percentage here in the second quarter. Dolphins looking to get Passatoro on the scoreboard a little bit. She's, as we mentioned, 1 of 10, including 1 of 7 from the three-point line.
And a strong start for Samantha Flecker continues as a good pass from Christina Passatoro finds her cutting back door. She finishes underneath once again. The Dolphins lead back to 2. As that three-pointer is no good from Alyssa Giordano. And possession will be awarded to the Dolphins as that one goes over the baseline out of bounds. Certainly not an efficient start from the field for the Dolphins, but a lot of high-quality chances inside have allowed them to take the lead here by 2. That lead, of course, was much larger just a couple of minutes ago as that bounce pass not deflected, and it travels over the sideline out of bounds. So the Dolphins turn the ball over, and the Pioneers will have another chance to knot the score up at 22. Julie Ravito crosses half court with the ball. Gives it up to Stewart on the right wing. She surveys, finds Ravito inside. And a foul was called before the shot against Victoria Cray.
Yeah, Cray bounced off the body before the shot, so it'll result in the Pioneers inbounding the basketball now with a fresh 30-second shot clock.
And it will be Ravito to inbound for William Paterson. Stewart swings it up top to Giordano. She drives to her right, gives it back up to Stewart. Ravito has it. 20 on the shot clock. Ravito doubled, and an offensive foul was called. And that offensive foul was charged to Sierra Strong, I believe, on the screen.
Yeah, she just didn't get her feet set enough, Joe, for the official and picked up the moving screen violation. So the Dolphins with the basketball.
The turnover count now 14-8 in favor of the Dolphins. The Dolphins only with 8 turnovers so far, about halfway through the second quarter. But if they could play to that pace, I'm sure head coach Tim Shanahan would take it. As Passatoro looks to drive to her left, finds Cray in the left corner. She dribbles baseline. Good defensive play there from Giordano, using the baseline as an extra defender, forcing the turnover. It's now the Pioneers coming back the other way. And that foul is charged to the Pioneers, offensive foul against Tennille Stewart.
Yeah, and that was a good play that time by Samantha Flecker. She knew if she stood her ground, she would take a blow, and she did, but she drew the offensive foul, and yet another turnover for the Pioneers.
And it's Simone Small who checked in at that last horn, replacing Sierra Strong for William Paterson. It's Cray dribbling it up for the Dolphins, gives it up to Price, who swings it over to Passatoro. Flecker looks to cut back door, fakes back out to the three-point line, and cuts back door once again. And I think Paterson and Flecker had that play scripted out between them prior to that possession. Paterson knew exactly what Flecker was going to do. She faked that backdoor cut before turning back towards the three-point line and cutting backdoor again. An easy basket for the Dolphins, gives them a 4-point lead as that three-pointer is no good from Stewart. The Dolphins looking to run. It's Callie. And Callie finishes in transition. Julie Ravito was looking for a foul call. She didn't get it. And so now the Dolphins leading by 6. Ravito dribbles to her right, and a blocking foul is called against Callie.
Yeah, I thought that Ravito was probably fortunate not to get called for the block, Joe, on the defensive end, and then I thought that might have been a little bit of a tough call on the offensive end, but the basket will count, the foul will be drawn, and that will lead to a free throw now for Julie Ravito.
And though Callie may not necessarily have been inside the restricted area, when you're that far underneath the basket, it's very rare that you'll see a charge called in that area of the floor. So it's Ravito to the line for 2 as you get a look there, and Callie on the right block called for the blocking foul as Ravito converts from the line.
And Callie, kind of got her feet there. Her body was moving a little bit, so the official gave her the foul.
And the officials will discuss something along the far sideline.
We have the score 26-23. The officials, the scoreboard has it 26-22. So I think we might be discussing the score at the officials table.
And they're referring to the book right now for William Paterson, I believe. And if the discrepancy is score related, as you see on your screen, our score listed here is 26-23. As you said, Mike, the score up on the scoreboard here at the Sports and Rec Center, 26-22. No change made yet. You hear fans behind us saying 23, but no 23rd point put up on the scoreboard yet as the two books consult with one another.
At that time, Cray's pass nearly intercepted by Ravito. She knocks it out of bounds. 22 to shoot for the Dolphins.
The Dolphins will inbound with 22 on the shot clock. It's Paterson with the ball. She drives to her left off the crossover looking for Callie. Callie finds Flecker, wide open 3. That one bounces up and out. As Price looked to throw that ball off of Julie Ravito, she could not, as I believe she was standing out of bounds anyway. Possession to the Pioneers as the scoreboard has now been reflected to match our score on your screens. Pioneers bring it up. It's Ravito. Finds Wetzel at the top of the key, and she kicks it out to Tennille Stewart, who knocks down the 3 from the left wing. The score tied up once again, this time at 26. Flecker cross-court pass to Paterson. Her 3 from the left corner is no good. Price got her hands on that rebound, but it gets away from her, and it's the Pioneers who come away with it. Stewart over to Ravito. Ravito double-teamed on the left wing. As you get a look at the three-point shooting for both sides, it has been a struggle from downtown for both teams. The two teams shooting a combined 2 of 20 as the Dolphins force the turnover. Great pass from Flecker to Paterson, who finishes inside.
Yeah, and it's time for Christie to heat up a little bit. That's her second basket of the game. She has 5 to go along with 4 assists.
The Dolphins have done a great job in transition off of their turnovers, but in the half court it has been a struggle from the start here in this game as Tennille Stewart's three-point attempt hits nothing, and the Dolphins will come back the other way. And that's an offensive foul called against Angelique Price. Julie Ravito draws the charge. That's Price's first personal, the team's third.
See if we have an opportunity to take another look at that again. I thought that she got to the spot pretty late to draw the offensive foul, but the official gives the offensive foul, and it will be Pioneer basketball off of the turnover.
I thought it was a tough call too, Mike, as we get a look at the call here.
That's an absolutely not good call there, Joe.
Yeah, I have to agree with you there, Mike. I don't like that call either. As that bounce pass inside to Ravito gets her a great look. She can't convert, but it's Simone Small who draws the foul on the putback attempt. And that will prompt Tim Shanahan to send Rosa Perrone over to the scorer's table. Nicole and Bessie already there waiting, as it's Simone Small to the line for 2.
Yeah, big foul against the Dolphins, Joe, because that's going to be on Jackie Callie, and that's going to be her 3rd. So I'm sure she's going to come out of the game until halftime as Rosa Perone will make an appearance for the Dolphins along with Nicole and Bessie.
So to the bench, as you mentioned, Callie and Angelique Price as well. And it's Perone and Bessie entering for CSI. As Small can't convert on the second free throw. Rebounded by Wetzel. Her putback attempt no good. Rebounded by Perone. Cray pushes it ahead to Passatoro. That one deflected by Julie Ravito. And she wants possession awarded to the Pioneers, but she won't get it. As it will be the Dolphins to inbound just in front of the Pioneers bench. Cray inbounds to Passatoro. Passatoro surveys the floor, brings the ball up towards half court. Head coach Shanahan calls a play from the bench. A pair of screens set for Passatoro. She dribbles to her left. Was on her way inside. Kicked it out to Cray, but a travel is called against Passatoro. And that's another Dolphins turnover.
Yeah, so turnover by the Dolphins gives the Pioneers an opportunity for the lead.
Hasn't been a great offensive quarter here for the Dolphins in quarter number 2. As the Pioneers swing the ball around the perimeter. Ravito over to Brooks, who puts up a 3. No good. Rebounded by Passatoro. Once again, she will look to run. She has Flecker to her right. Bounce pass over to Flecker as Ravito goes down, but Flecker can't convert the layup. Had to avoid stumbling over Ravito. The Pioneers push it ahead, up to Green, and she finishes. And that gives the Pioneers the lead.
Big 4-point turnaround there. Flecker can't hit the layup. The Pioneers come back with the basket.
Flecker had been money inside up until that point. She'll now fire from the outside as her right corner 3. No good, as that catches nothing but the backboard. That shot way off as the Pioneers now head back the other way. And Rosa Perone comes away with the ball. She strips Julie Ravito. Perone on the drive, a Euro step inside. And she is fouled by Simone Small. Not the most graceful move inside, but it got the job done as Perone draws the foul, and she'll head to the line for 2.
So Rosa with the big steal at half court, taking it down the lane, misses the layup, but draws the foul. Nice play by Perone, and an opportunity for the Dolphins to tie or take the lead.
You have to like the aggressiveness there by Perone, having just entered off the bench, but her first free throw is no good. Her second could tie the score as a pair of substitutions enter for the Pioneers. It's Alyssa Giordano and Bianca Soriano who enter for William Paterson. Perone's second free throw is up and good, and the score is now tied at 29. 1:11 to go here in the second quarter. It's been a strong second quarter for William Paterson, especially compared to what they did in quarter number 1. Green swings it over to Giordano. Now Brooks has it in left corner. Bounce pass inside to Small. Small working in the low post against Perone. That one rebounded and thrown up at the rim by Soriano. A wild shot. It's rebounded by Brooks. Brooks drives inside. A foul called. I find it hard to believe that foul was on Perone, but she was the Dolphins defender in the area.
Yeah, 3 attempts that time for the Pioneers as they're starting to pound the ball inside. They got a pretty large lineup on the floor, and now they're going to have an opportunity to take the lead with free throws.
They've done a good job drawing fouls on the interior and getting to the free throw line here in the second quarter, as that first free throw will give William Paterson the lead. You got to look at the numbers for the free throw shooter, Brianna Brooks, and she can't convert on her second free throw, but gets her own rebound, as the Dolphins fail to close out on that rebound, but the ball is knocked away and a turnover forced once again by CSI, so a good job defensively after failing to come away with the rebound off of that missed free throw. Passatoro quickly looking to move the ball up the floor. Finds Perone inside, and a strong finish inside by Rosa Perone, who converts the basket along with the foul, and she will head to the free throw line for 1. Looking to extend the Dolphins' lead to 2.
So Rosa looking to insert herself offensively here since checking into the game. A couple of big moves, but she can't complete the three-point play.
Definitely an assertive finish there by Perone, Mike, as the Pioneers look to dribble up the court quickly. It's knocked away, and it will be William Paterson basketball. As you get a look at the free throw shooting for both sides, the Dolphins haven't done a good job from the line to this point in the game, only 4 of 10. The Pioneers are much more efficient, 5 of 7, and I'm actually surprised looking at that number that the Dolphins have been to the line more. It seems like we've seen the Pioneers at the line very often here in this game, but it has been the Dolphins with the advantage in free throws taken. As that one's out of bounds, blocked, I believe, by the Dolphins on that shot attempt inside by Soriano. So it's the Pioneers to inbound. 21.7 on the game clock as that one's thrown in off the foot of a Dolphin, and they come away with the steal as that's nearly turned over by CSI. McEwen had her head down, but able to recover in time, and looks like the Dolphins will hold for the last shot as Pasaturo drives to her right, finds Mbesi in the corner. Flecker on the right wing looking for Perone inside, who is fouled. And the Dolphins are in the bonus, so Perone will go to the line for 2. A silly foul there by the Pioneers, who seem to have that possession well defended.
Yeah, and, that time it was Soriano picking up the foul from behind, and that's going to be her second personal as Rosa tried to catch the pass in the post and really just got shoved from behind, so she'll go to the line for 2. She misses the first, and she's now 1 of 4 from the line.
It's been a struggle from the line for Perone thus far, as she's now left 3 points off the scoreboard, as you mentioned. Her second free throw up and good. Pioneers have 4.6 to get a shot up. Inbound ricochets off the shin of Small, and rather than push the ball, she'll attempt to heave, which comes up well short, and that will bring us to halftime. Our score at the half, the Dolphins 32 and the Pioneers 30. So just very quickly before we break, Mike, the Dolphins in that first quarter, a very strong showing. The Pioneers did bounce back from a first quarter plagued with turnovers. What did you see in quarter number 2?
Well, the Dolphins were outscored, I should say, by the Pioneers in that second quarter by a score of 20-15, but a nice job by the Dolphins to be able to close out and go into halftime with a 2-point lead. And, Joe, the way they've been playing so far, especially with their starters out on the floor, they got to feel pretty good about their chances here in the second half, especially if they could find a way to get Christina Pasatoro a little bit more hot from the field.
And Mike and I will be back following this break with a full recap of the first half, including complete stats and much more, along with a preview of the second half. That is when we return here on CSI Sportsnet at CSIDolphins.com. This is NCAA Division III women's basketball coverage. Our score at the half, the Dolphins 32 and the Pioneers 30.
One-on-One is an independently owned and operated physical therapy center since 1999.
One-on-One has multiple offices located in Staten Island and in Brooklyn.
One-on-One has been getting people back to living pain-free for almost 14 years.
The number one goal of One-on-One is to provide quality health care for our community and continue to strive to be the best in our field.
One-on-One physical therapy gets our clients back to work, back to play, and back to function as soon as possible. We help them reclaim their life.
Wow, these are really good.
You act surprised. Practice makes perfect.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. There are thousands of teens in foster care who don't need perfection. They need you.
You know what, guys? There's a lot of tree branches and dry brush
and
over
we're back here on CSI Sportsnet with a special halftime guest. We're joined by Dolphins head coach Tim Shanahan. Tim, in that first quarter, a very strong showing for your team, forced a lot of turnovers. What did you like that you saw from your team defensively?
Yeah, we came out a little bit differently Oh, sorry, guys. We came out a little bit differently. They were expecting us to go man full court, and we're scouted pretty well, and that's our forte. And I switched things around. Said, let's go zone. Let's force the issue a little bit. They got a couple of really, really tough players, 35 and 30, who could really shoot the ball well, and they just give us a little tough matchup, man-to-man. So I said, let's switch it back that way, use our quickness, and the girls did what they had to do.
In the second quarter, you guys thrived in transition, a bit stagnant in the half court at times. What would you look to change in the half court offense?
Well, like anybody who watches us, everything is transition to us, and I'm trying to force it. We start calling plays, something's up. And I have them, but I don't like using them if I don't have to.
And you haven't needed to so far this. You haven't needed to so far this season.
Yeah, no, but there's a team very formidable. It's an NJAC team. They're tough. They're physical, and we try to keep the pace. And as I tell the girls, we got to try to force the teams to play our game, not their game. I don't acquiesce to what the other teams are doing, and hey, listen, we're doing pretty good with what we've had. We made a number of mistakes. You know, as usual, we shoot ourselves in the foot with layups and foul shots. But on the whole, I can't complain. These kids play hard for me, so I can't complain.
And your team has certainly asserted its will so far this season. Thank you, Tim.
Thank you, guys.
All right.
Oh, and also I apologize for all the half times I've missed.
Oh, not a problem at all. We're happy to have you here today, and looking forward to a strong second half from you guys.
Thank you.
And that is Dolphins head coach Tim Shanahan, who just joined us. Coming out of our halftime break, our score at the half, the Dolphins 32 and the Pioneers 30. And Mike, we now have the full halftime stats here in front of us for both teams. What jumps off the stat sheet for you from that first half?
Well, you know, if you're the CSI Dolphins, we mentioned it going into halftime, Joe. Christina Passatoro just 2 of 12 from the field here, and yet you find yourself leading by 2 points. And, you know, to me, that's got to be looked at as a positive. The concern for the Dolphins, though, is the way that the rebounding is turned a little bit here, Joe, especially in the latter stages of the second quarter. Dolphins now getting out rebounded 27-22 in the game, and then being outscored in second chance points 10-4. But if you're the Dolphins and you can find a way to get Christina Passatoro back on track, you really got to love the way the Dolphins have been able to play defense against this Pioneer team. And, you know, you take away those second chance points, which of course you can't do, but, you know, William Paterson scoring a full third of their points on second chance opportunities.
And you mentioned the poor shooting of Christina Passatoro in the first half. Very uncharacteristic of her. And if you're the Pioneers, you have to find it hard to believe that Passatoro will have a similar effort in the second half. She's been money for the Dolphins so far this season, but it has been Samantha Flecker who's really picked up the slack offensively for the Dolphins, scoring 13 in that first half. And I believe Christina Passatoro assisted her on at least 2 or 3 of those baskets very nicely in transition. You mentioned, or I should say, head coach Tim Shanahan mentioned that his team only looks to run in transition, not often looking to call plays in the half court, and they played extremely well in transition throughout that entire first half. But if the Pioneers can stop committing the turnovers that really hurt them in the first quarter and force the Dolphins to play a half-court game, it will be very interesting to see what they'll do and how they'll get the job done offensively, because in that second quarter, I believe the Dolphins scored nearly all of their points, either in transition immediately off of a rebound or off of turnovers. The only possession I can recall where the Dolphins really got set and converted on scoring a basket was that play that I detailed where Samantha Flecker faked the backdoor cut before turning toward the three-point line on the wing and cutting backdoor again. As we have the full halftime stats on your screen, of course, the score 32-30. The Dolphins and Pioneers both not shooting particularly well from the field, very poorly from three-point range, and from the line, the Dolphins only 5 of 12. The rebounding battle in favor of the Pioneers, but turnovers in favor of the Dolphins.
And, you know, you got to like the Dolphins, 11 assists on their 13 baskets, just 6 assists on the 12 baskets for William Paterson. The Dolphins doing a good job of moving the ball around. And, you know, Joe, head coach Tim Shanahan mentioned it briefly. Dolphins shooting themselves in the foot a little bit. They've missed a lot of layups. They've only shot about 50% from the free throw line, actually less than that, just 5 of 12, and they've had some open looks from the three-point line. Christina Passatoro's missed a couple of open looks, and Samantha Flecker, who's played very well offensively, also had a couple of open looks from 3 that could have helped the Dolphins to open up their lead a little bit more. But again, the way the Dolphins have played so far here this afternoon, you have to feel great going into halftime with this 32-30 lead.
And the opportunities certainly have been there for the Dolphins. They are not shooting poorly because they're taking low-quality shots. You mentioned several open threes for Samantha Flecker that did not go down. Christina Passatoro, 1 of 8 from the three-point line. She typically shoots far better than that, and sometimes on far worse shots than she took in this game. She had some quality looks in that first half as well, and as I said before, it's hard to believe that we will see a similar effort from her in half number 2. Expect her to come on strong in the third quarter. But another thing I want to mention for the Dolphins as well is they got strong play from their bench, not necessarily in the form of scoring, but in terms of physicality and high-effort play. Diana Todaro, Rosa Perone, and Nicole Mbesi. And Mbesi with a pair of offensive rebounds, Todaro with 3 offensive rebounds and 5 total rebounds. Rosa Perone off the bench and in very limited minutes, only 2 minutes of play, put 4 points up on the scoreboard. It could have been 7 had she converted from the free throw line, was 1 of 1 from the field, only 2 of 5 from the line. So if you're the Dolphins, you really have to like what you saw from your bench in that second quarter especially.
Yeah, and Joe, this is the Dolphins' final game until after the Christmas holiday. So, these are 20 minutes you really want to come out, let it all hang out, really give everything you got because you don't have another game now for another 15 days. So, we spoke to Tim Shanahan at halftime. You had an opportunity to ask him a couple of questions. And, if you're the CSI Dolphins, he's going to want to come out playing his game here for these last 20 minutes, the kind of game that the Dolphins were able to play in that first quarter. And, again, if they can continue to get secondary scoring and get Christina Passatoro to hit some of her open looks, the Dolphins look really good here in this second half.
And I found it very interesting when Tim Shanahan told us that the Dolphins never look to run half-court plays. And here in the second half, we'll see if the Pioneers can force them to play a different style and do otherwise. We'll talk more about what to expect here in the second half when we return from break. Again, our score at the half, the Dolphins 32 and the Pioneers 30. We'll be right back with coverage of the second half after this.
So who's going to do what?
I'll pack the dead batteries.
Great.
I'll only put what I don't need into a duffel bag.
Perfect. That's totally unhelpful.
No problem.
Meanwhile, I will try to comfort everyone by speaking in a calm voice. And who is going to handle supplies?
I can forget to do a list for us.
Thanks, pal.
We couldn't be any less prepared. I'm proud of you guys.
Talk to your kids about who to call, where to meet, what to pack. Search Ready Kids at nyc.gov or call 311.
Hi, may I please have an application? Thank you.
Skip the drama. Get your diploma.
Okay.
Take that first step towards a better future. Find free adult education classes at finishyourdiploma.org.
As an American, it's hard to hear that we have a serious hunger issue in our country. And as a parent, it's even harder to hear that 1 in 5 of our kids struggles with hunger, especially when billions of pounds of good food are wasted every year. Feeding America is a nationwide network of food banks that helps provide billions of meals to families in need right in your community. Visit feedingamerica.org to support Feeding America and your local food bank. Together we can solve hunger. Together, we're Feeding America.
Thank you. You got a king?
Go fish.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today.
There's one thing you can never have sex without.
It's not something you buy.
Or something you take.
In fact, there's only one way to get it.
It has to be given to you, freely.
It's consent.
Because sex without it isn't sex.
It's rape. Consent.
If you don't get it, you don't get it. It's on us to stop sexual assault.
Learn how and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
Right now at Tim Hortons, you can get a 10-pack of Timbits for $1.99. Get an irresistible mix of flavors in every perfectly shareable snack pack. Now that's what you'd call a sweet deal. Stop by Tim Hortons for a 10-pack today.
Most party fouls are pretty dumb. But if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Underage drinking and driving. The ultimate party foul.
And we're back here from the Sports and Recreation Center on the campus of the College of Staten Island. Just about 2 minutes to go before the start of the second half between the Dolphins of the College of Staten Island and the Pioneers of William Paterson University. Our score at the half, the Dolphins 32 and the Pioneers 30. We spoke with head coach Tim Shanahan at halftime. Mike, you and I spoke about these two teams going into the second half. What is one thing you'll be looking for here in half number 2?
I'm going to look and see, Joe, if the Dolphins are able to rebound the ball on the defensive end. To me, that's going to be the key to the game. You know, you mentioned during the pregame show that the Dolphins did very well in the first half in that game against Wagner, but as the game went along, Wagner was able to use their size and their strength against the Dolphins. For the Dolphins, the key here this afternoon, limit William Paterson to one attempt at the basket. I think if they're able to do that successfully here in the second half, they have a great chance of coming away with the victory.
And I think if they can limit the second chance points, they absolutely will have a great chance to win this game. As you said, Mike, for me, I'll be looking to see how the Dolphins respond if William Paterson can limit the turnovers. We saw in the second quarter, William Paterson wasn't as sloppy with the basketball. There were certainly still turnovers they committed in quarter number 2, but it was especially sloppy in quarter number 1. And if they don't commit those turnovers and force the Dolphins to play more of a half-court game, I'm very interested to see what happens, because there in that second quarter, we saw the Dolphins forced into their half-court offense much more than we're accustomed to. Wagner College turned the ball over throughout the game they played against CSI, and the other teams the Dolphins have played this season have been very turnover-prone as well in just about all of their other games, at least the ones we've covered here at the Sports and Recreation Center. So if the Dolphins can't force turnovers, they're going to have to make the most of their defensive rebounds and then getting out in transition off of those rebounds. If they can, we may see this team forced into a half-court game, and I'll be very interested to see what happens if that occurs.
And, you know, Julie Ravito, Joe, came into the game averaging 16 points a game, just picked up 5 points for the Pioneers in that first half on 2 of 6 shooting. She also turned the ball over 9 times, Joe, in that first half. Julie only averaging 4 turnovers a game coming into the game tonight. So, you know, if you're the Pioneers, you got to find a way to stop her from turning the ball over and hopefully get her to score a little bit more.
And Ravito, usually a leader for this team at the offensive end, much like we expect Christina Passaturo to improve her shooting from a 2 of 12 mark. You have to expect Julie Ravito to fix this turnover issue here in the second half and really get this offense going. She's been one of the 2 offensive leaders for this team throughout the season, along with Tori Wetzel, and you have to think they'll get back on track as a team offensively here in the second half, cleaning up the turnovers and being more efficient at the offensive end. And greater efficiency is something both teams could benefit from in half number 2, as they both shot poorly from the field thus far. The second half is underway as Wetzel drives to her left, finds Simone Small, whose free throw line jumper is no good. Rebounded by Price, who then stepped on the baseline. And that's a turnover that, if you're the Dolphins, you simply need to avoid off of a rebound, and another extra possession for the Pioneers.
Then the Pioneers might have had a player go over Angelique's back and did enough to force her out of bounds, so it'll be Pioneer basketball.
Small has it at the top of the arc, hands it off to Giordano. And three-pointer from the right wing, fired by Ravito. It's no good. Passaturo finds Flecker up ahead. Flecker drives inside. Her shot is blocked. Credit that block to Julie Ravito, and the Pioneers move quickly back the other way. But that pass inside intercepted by Angelique Price, and the Dolphins will storm back to the other end quickly. Price drives to her right, and that's an offensive foul called against Angelique Price. No doubt about that call, as Julie Ravito was there waiting seemingly the entirety of that possession by Price, who barreled right into her. Inbounding will be the Pioneers.
Yeah, so Angelique will pick up her second personal, team's first here in the third quarter.
It's Giordano with the ball now. She dribbles to her right, picked up by Flecker. Gives it up to Ravito at the top of the arc. Small working just outside of the paint, gives up her dribble. And now looks to post, but Wetzel kicks it up top to Giordano, who fires at 3. That's no good. Rebound fought for inside. A pair of Dolphins and a pair of Pioneers. Foul called against the Pioneers. It's an over-the-back foul against Alyssa Giordano.
So that's going to be her first and the Pioneers first, so the Dolphins will get to inbound. Both teams looking to get on the scoreboard here in quarter number 3.
It's Cray with the ball for CSI. She dribbles in to her right, kicks it out to Passaturo, who drives. Puts up the floater and is fouled. That one rattled out, but Passaturo will go to the line for 2.
Nice aggressive move by Christina. She faked the outside shot, drove it into the lane, put up the one-hander, couldn't convert, but drew the foul, and will go to the free throw line to shoot 2. It'll be Christina's first appearance on the free throw line tonight.
And being more efficient from the free throw line for the Dolphins, and this second half starts here as Paterson knocks down the first.
Christina coming in shooting 71% from the line.
And finishes here 2 of 2 from the line. Dolphins lead is 4. Our score 34-30. About a minute and a half into the third quarter as the Dolphins looking to trap Tori Wetzel. They do a good job of it. Really no opening, but she's able to get rid of the ball up to Strong. And then wide open inside was Small, who is called for traveling. And then she missed the layup on top of it. So...
yeah, Joe, she had a wide open lane. I don't think she could believe how wide open she was when she caught the ball and got called for the travel.
Not much more could have gone wrong there, as that's turnover number 21 for the Pioneers. The Dolphins with 12 turnovers of their own as Paterson crosses over and then finds Cray wide open for 3 in the corner, but it's rebounded by Revito. Revito looking to push the other way. Bounce pass inside, looking for Strong, and that's over the baseline, out of bounds. Dolphins ball.
Yeah, and, both times, Joe, when the first quarter started and now the third, when the Dolphins have their starting 5 on the floor, they're giving the Pioneers all kinds of problems when the Pioneers have the basketball.
They've done a great job forcing turnovers, and that's a good point, Mike. It's really been the Dolphins starters who have done a great job pressuring this William Paterson team, especially the starters, I should say, as they got good work off the bench from players like Diana Tadaro as well, and a miscommunication there between Callie and Cray as Callie throws the ball away towards the Dolphins bench, and the Pioneers will inbound from in front of the Dolphins bench.
And it's been a low-scoring game all day long, Joe, and it continues here in the third quarter.
It's Revito with the ball, and she's looking to drive inside. Nice pass over to Strong, who finishes. And that brings the Pioneers back to within 2.
Yeah, that time too many plays surrounding the ball.
And Revito intercepts that pass from Cray to Price. Revito looks to bounce it inside once again, and that's a reckless pass, as there were 2 Dolphins there. And a timeout is called. I think they awarded a timeout to the Dolphins as Callie was able to gain possession of that ball down on the floor. It will be a 30-second timeout, so we'll stay right here. And it seems, Mike, that the Pioneers have been unable to correct those turnover problems that plagued them in quarter number 1.
Yeah, both teams coming out here. We played just 2 minutes and 40 seconds, Joe, here in quarter number 3, and, one basket apiece. So both teams are continuing to try to work at it offensively. Again, Dolphins creating themselves some opportunities here. Dolphins with 17 points off Pioneer turnovers. The Pioneers with just 5. And, that's the way the Dolphins have been living and being successful here this afternoon. And that's what they're going to look to do throughout the remainder of the game.
And those 17 points off of turnovers account for half of the Dolphins' total scoring. The Dolphins' lead is 2. Our score 34-32 with 7:15 to go in quarter number 3 as Cray brings the ball across half court. She dribbles toward the top of the arc, now drives to her right, finds Callie in the right corner for 3, and she is fouled on the shot as she was not given space to land by Sierra Strong. So Callie will go to the line for 3 shots, and as I mentioned before, efficiency from the free throw line began with Paterson shooting 2 before, and Jackie Callie will look to continue that trend.
And you look at the three-point shooting here this afternoon, both teams just have made 1 apiece out of 25 attempts, so both teams struggling as Jackie misses the free throw here for the Dolphins. It's Callie's first appearance to the free throw line. She's now 0 of 1.
In their lone loss this season, those shooting very well overall from the line. Free throws missed down the stretch really cost the Dolphins in a big way against the Wagner College Seahawks, and you'd hate to see that happen to them once again here tonight as Angelique Price checks out in favor of Nicole and Bessie. Bessie with a strong first half. Very active on the glass especially. She did not score as that free throw is good, so Callie hits 2 of 3 from the line. Dolphins lead back to 4 as Giordano brings the ball up for William Paterson. Revito has it on the left wing, looking inside for Strong, and that pass taken away by Callie. Callie looking for Cray up ahead, but not enough on that pass. She had Cray ahead of the field, just not enough on the pass. It's stolen by the Pioneers, who look to slow it down, moving the other way. Wetzel gives up her dribble. That pass off the hands of Revito. It finds its way back to Revito from Carolyn Hill, and then inside, Revito draws the foul.
And that's going to be on Jackie Callie, Joe, and that's going to be her 4th. So she's going to have to go to the bench, and, that'll hurt the Dolphins a little bit. Diana Tadaro will check back in for CSI at this first free throw.
Revito's first free throw is good, and Todaro does indeed check in for Callie. A strong first half for Todaro, though she was only 1 of 4 from the field, had 5 rebounds to go along with 3 steals in only 7 minutes. So a very active first half on the glass and defensively for Todaro in limited minutes. As Revito's second free throw is up and good. Dolphin lead trimmed back down to 2 as Cray pushes it up ahead to Paterson. Paterson dribbles inside the arc and is fouled right around the free throw line. That foul charged to Alyssa Giordano.
Yeah, so 4 quick team fouls here on the Pioneers show in the third quarter. So the Dolphins 1 foul away from the bonus, and it'll be the Dolphins to inbound.
Cray finds Flecker underneath. That pass went straight through the hands of Samantha Flecker. About as accurate of a pass as could be from that position. Flecker just couldn't handle it. The Dolphins have been looking inside time and time again off of those inbounds passes, regardless from where on the floor they're throwing them, whether it be on the baseline or the sideline. Done a pretty good job getting the ball in close off of those inbounds passes as the Pioneers once again facing full court pressure from the Dolphins. It's Asani dribbling across half court now, defended by Cray.
We have an opportunity to look at that steal.
That was a lazy pass there as Paterson finds Flecker in transition. Once again, the Dolphins capitalizing off of yet another Pioneers turnover.
Yeah, and Christina now with 6 assists on the afternoon.
And a wild shot inside by Sierra Strong. Nothing but air. It was rebounded initially, I believe, by the Pioneers, but they turn it over along the baseline, and the Dolphins will inbound. Cray brings it up for the Dolphins. Swings it over to Paterson on the wing. Up to Mbesi, and now Flecker has it. Flecker surveys. Dolphins swing the ball across the perimeter once again. It's now with Paterson. She dribbles to her left, drives toward the basket, and along the baseline looking for Flecker on the right wing. 7 on the shot clock. Flecker finds Cray, left wing 3, no good. Rebound tipped up in the air by Mbesi. I think Todaro might have gotten a hand on it as well. And it looked like Victoria Cray came down with that ball and then drew a foul on Tori Wetzel. As we get another look here at the Dolphins once again thriving in transition.
As we have a chance to see that Cray layup, and now she'll go to the free throw line with an opportunity to expand on this 4-point Dolphin lead.
And once again, the Dolphins missing from the line.
Now 9 of 18 from the line this afternoon, Joe.
And you'd certainly like to see better than that if your head coach Tim Shanahan, as the second free throw from Cray is good. Dolphins lead now 5. It's been a very strong defensive quarter for the Dolphins, having only allowed 4 points through about 4.5 minutes, and they force a timeout to be called on that inbound as the Pioneers could not find an open player to make that inbounds pass. Once again, a 30-second timeout, so we'll stay right here. And Mike, you have to love the defensive intensity from the Dolphins here in this third quarter, limiting the Pioneers to only 4 points, and the Dolphins once again, as they did in the first half, are thriving in transition as well.
Yeah, you know, they're starting to pick up the intensity on the defensive end and, you know, distributing the ball and, you know, really coming out and playing well and, you know, forcing a lot of William Paterson turnovers here in the third quarter, and they've found themselves opening the lead back up to 5 as they've outscored William Paterson here 7-4 in this third quarter.
And points off of turnovers continue to rise for the Dolphins, now at 21 as opposed to only 7 for William Paterson. And William Paterson has forced their share of turnovers as well. They simply haven't made the most of them as the Dolphins nearly turn the ball over. That one, or I should say the Pioneers do turn the ball over as Flecker comes away with it, and she continues to finish strong at the rim as Flecker goes up with the scoop layup and finishes in transition. But the Pioneers now looking to answer back, moving in the other direction, and they do so nicely as it's Julie Revito finding Sierra Strong inside. Dolphins again quickly moving back the other way. Paterson crosses over, finds Cray in the left corner. Paterson 3 from the left wing, way off, and Paterson's poor shooting from the field continues. The Dolphins will reset.
Yeah, I think that one was partially blocked, Joe.
It very well may have been as Cray cuts back door. Paterson finds her inside, and Cray converts the layup. That backdoor play has been there for the Dolphins. It's been their most effective form of half-court offense. It's been there really for the last 2 quarters as the Dolphins commit the foul. Sihana Asani goes down right around the half-court line. That will be the 3rd Dolphins team foul here in the quarter.
And, we mentioned, Joe, that Christina is struggling with her scoring as we have an opportunity to see a replay on that beautiful drive to the basket by Samantha Flecker. Christina just 2 of 13 from the field, but she leads all players with 7 assists and also has 5 rebounds.
We mentioned in the pregame her role on this team as a scorer. She's shown off her skills as a facilitator here tonight as the Dolphins come away with another steal, another opportunity for Flecker, who finishes once again, this time with the left hand. Julie Ravito breathing down her neck. It's been a very strong game here tonight for Samantha Flecker as the Dolphins come away with the ball once again, and things seem to be unraveling now for the Pioneers. It's Flecker from the left corner for 3. That one just short. Rebounded inside by Simone Small. Here comes Julie Ravito with the basketball, dribbling toward the top of the arc, and another reckless pass inside, and then a frustration foul committed by Julie Ravito. And the struggles continue for Ravito as the turnovers continue to pile up for the Pioneers here in this game.
Yeah, the Pioneers, Joe, just turning the ball over way too much here so far tonight, and especially in the third quarter as the Dolphin defense is really causing the Pioneers a tremendous amount of problems. They've now turned the ball over 29 times, Joe, 10 times here in the third quarter.
And that frustration foul sent Christina Passaturo to the line where she converts on the first of 2 free throws. And as I take a look here at the stat sheet, I'm not sure I've ever seen anything like this. You mentioned the turnovers committed by the Pioneers, 29 I believe you said. 15 of them have been committed by Julie Ravito, this team's leading scorer. And it's been a really rough night for the Pioneers' leading scorer, Julie Ravito. Still time to rectify her poor play to this point, but the Dolphin lead is now up to double digits. It's 11. As Wetzel looks to back down Passaturo, her kick-out pass intercepted by Flecker. But Flecker really didn't have anywhere to go with that ball out of the double team as her teammates sprinted up the court. Did have Mbesi waiting, but by then it was too late. As you get another look here at Samantha Flecker working in transition, and she just blew right by Julie Ravito on that play. As the Pioneers are able to convert inside on that layup attempt, it's Carolyn Hill off of the inbounds pass, but Craig quickly finds Passaturo, and she's fouled underneath. And the Dolphins, off of a made basket, head right back the other way, get inside off of the outlet pass, and draw a foul.
Yeah, they're really giving the Pioneers a lot of problems as Christina Passatore is going to get to go back to the free throw line with an opportunity to shoot 2.
And Passatore converts from the free throw line once again. So the Dolphins have shot a better percentage from the line here in this quarter than they did in the first half. Passaturo now 5 of 5 from the free throw line. We'll look to make it 6 of 6. And she does. So the Dolphins lead back to 11. As the Pioneers look to inbound, they find Small. Small gives up her dribble, perhaps a bit prematurely, but she finds DeFrank just beyond half court. The ball back with Small, looking to drive. Really had nowhere to go. Gives it up inside to Wetzel, and she's stripped by Tadaro. Good defensive play there from Tadaro. That leaves the Pioneers with only 15 on the shot clock because they took quite a bit of time to get that ball across the half-court line and get into their offense. Wetzel looks to inbound and finds DeFrank. Back inside to Wetzel. Frank looking to drive baseline and then passed it into 3 Dolphin defenders looking for Wetzel. Thought a foul was charged there.
I think it was, Joe. I thought a foul was called on the Dolphins.
I thought I saw the referee signal 15. Either way, it is the Pioneers inbounding. Apparently no foul was called as that's inbounded over to Small, looking to work in on the low post. She loses the handle. 10 on the shot clock. Dribbling is Brooks, now gives it up to Small. Small's bounce pass inside to Wetzel onto the low post, and working inside, taking that post fadeaway, was Tori Wetzel, and she is fouled. This time a foul is indeed called. The call goes against Christina Passaturo.
Yeah, and for Christina, that's going to be her first, team's 4th. As the Pioneers, Wetzel goes to the line and hits the first.
Well, I mentioned in the pregame that foul trouble has plagued the Dolphins at times this season. Certainly not tonight. As for the most part, their starters have stayed out of foul trouble. Jackie Calley is on the bench with 4. But only 1 player in foul trouble is something you can live with as Christina Passaturo converts on the layup with the foul. She will go to the line for 1.
And you know, Joe, she started the quarter with a couple of assists. She's hit 6 of 6 from the free throw line here in the third quarter and now going strong to the basket as she now has her 14th point, and the Dolphins have their biggest lead of the game. It's 12.
It's been a strong third quarter for Passaturo. And this Dolphins team that has now extended its lead to 12 points. And it is a full timeout called by the Pioneers with the Dolphins leading by 12. So we'll step aside and take a break. When we return, the Dolphins take a 12-point lead into the final 3 minutes of the third quarter. More basketball upcoming after this break here on CSI Sportsnet at csidolphins.com.
Morning, Gary. We are GetSchooled.com. You want a college education, don't you? You know you do. Yeah, but I don't know where to start. That's why we're here. We're free, handsome. I think we're breathtaking. And here to guide you through every step of the way, starting with attendance. Gary, financial aid forms. Biology homework, G. I got this. Is that Bran? Colleges love extracurricular activities. Chess really isn't my thing. I got this. Doesn't matter. Go ahead. Picking a college, man. You and us. We go together like tacos and Tuesday.
And I love tacos.
Fire and ice.
Those don't really go together. Go to GetSchooled.com for more info.
And we're back here. Dolphins leading by 12. 2:48 to go here in quarter number 3 from the Sports and Recreation Center. It has been all Dolphins here in this third quarter as the Pioneers look to get going offensively coming out of that last full timeout. That three from the left wing taken by Danica DeFrank, no good. Long rebound goes to the Dolphins. Flecker looking to drive inside. Then wisely pulls it back out. Has a pair of open teammates. It's Pasaturo putting up the three. It's no good. And that's over the sideline. Out of bounds possession to William Paterson. So Pasaturo's struggles from three-point range continue, but it's been a very strong quarter for the Dolphins' leading scorer regardless.
Yeah, and the Dolphins in the middle of a 16-6 run here, Joe, to open the lead to 52-40.
The three-point shooting has been abysmal so far here in this game. The two teams have combined 2 of 30 from three-point range. That's certainly very uncharacteristic of the Dolphins from what we've seen so far this year, and I believe looking at the numbers for William Paterson, that's uncharacteristic of them as well. As it's Brooks looking to drive, give up her dribble perhaps too soon. Now Wetzel doesn't hesitate to put up that mid-range jump shot. Not a bad look, but she can't knock it down, and the rebound goes to Diana Todaro, who shows some good versatility dribbling that ball up the floor. It's Pasaturo driving now, finds an open Samantha Flecker in the left corner. Her three-pointer too long. Rebound goes to the Pioneers. It's Giordano now looking to bring it up. Once again, it's Danica DeFrank for three, and she knocks it down.
What a huge 6-point swing there, Joe. First, Flecker missing the open three. That could have made it a 15-point Dolphin lead. Then the Pioneers doing a nice job to hit a three of their own.
And the Pasaturo floater is good. So Christina Pasaturo knocks down that runner in the lane. And you mentioned the three-point shooting, a big shot there for the Pioneers. And Samantha Flecker has done just about everything right for the Dolphins tonight, with the exception of three-point shooting. And if she just knocks down one or two more of those three-pointers that she's attempted, or I should say one or two, this could be a different game, as a nice defensive play inside there nearly yielded the Dolphins another forced turnover. They stripped Tori Wetzel attempting to go up inside, and the Pioneers will inbound.
And Pasatoro now with 16 points, Joe, second in scoring to only Samantha Flecker. 11 of those points here in the third quarter.
It's been a very strong quarter, as we've mentioned several times already, for Christina Pasaturo, and we knew coming out of halftime it was unlikely that she would give another poor effort here in this half. Is right there. It's Alyssa Giordano knocking down the three. So that's back-to-back threes for William Paterson. The deficit for the Pioneers now 8 as Cray makes a great pass backdoor. A nice bounce pass finding Angelique Price, who finishes inside. Price checked in following the timeout as the Pioneers look to bring it up quickly. And the Dolphins force another turnover. It's Pasaturo ahead of the field all by herself, and she lays it up and in. The Dolphins lead now back to 9.
Yeah, and a nice job by the Dolphins, Joe, as they were able to answer a couple of three-pointers by the Pioneers with baskets of their own, and then another basket off the turnover.
I'm taking a look here at our score and the scoreboard in the arena. 2 different scores, so that will get rectified, I'm sure, in just a moment as we send word over to the scorers table. But for now, it is Pioneers basketball with 22 seconds to go here in the third quarter. That's a deep 2 from Tori Wetzel, and she knocks it down. And they credited that as a three-pointer. There is no way that was a three-pointer, but it goes up on the scoreboard as a 3. Both officials signaled a 3 as well. So that goes down as a three-pointer, but it was clear that it wasn't. As Pasaturo takes another runner in the lane, she can't finish. And the rebound goes to the Pioneers. which wraps up the third quarter. And they're going to take another look at that shot.
I'm pretty sure, Joe, that the official is going to call that a 2, but we'll wait and get the official word. But nonetheless, the Dolphins are going to go into the fourth quarter, Joe, with the lead.
There's no doubt that gets turned into a 2-pointer. So when that replay is taken care of, we'll head into the first quarter, presumably with the score, the Dolphins 58 and the Pioneers 48, as it looked a lot closer on that last replay than I initially thought. So we'll step aside as they take a look at this replay, and when we return, it's the Dolphins either 58-48 or 58-49. Here's one last look at that replay. We'll stay with you for it. That was a lot closer than I initially thought, Mike.
Yeah, but, the official that was right on the play, Joe, originally put both hands up and then changed the call to a 2. So I'm not sure what the call on the floor is, and, of course, that might make it more likely to determine what the official result is, because I couldn't really get a clear look, Joe. Let's take a look at it again, since we're online anyway.
Not often we get to do this, so we're going to take every opportunity to enjoy this aspect of our broadcast as the officials are taking a look at this with us right now on the other monitor. I thought for sure it was a 2 when she took it. On that replay, it very well could have been a 3. So I was wrong initially. I thought for sure that was a 2-pointer.
Well, to me, Joe, there's no way to really tell whether it was a 3 or a 2. So to me, whatever the call on the floor was should be the call that will stay, is going down as a 3-pointer. At least it's on the scoreboard currently as a 3.
And taking a look at that replay, there's just no way that call could have been changed from that camera angle. But initially, I thought it was a 2, and it was a lot closer than I thought it was. So it does go down as a 3-pointer. And with the fourth quarter about to start, we'll stay right here with you and forego our commercial break prior to the start of the fourth quarter. The Dolphins' lead is 9. Our score, 58-49, entering the fourth as the Dolphins inbound.
And, one thing you notice, Joe, as the third quarter came to an end, the Pioneers started to heat up with their 3-point shooting and their outside shooting.
Well, they'll need their shooting to improve as it's Cray driving, and she does draw the foul. That foul will go against Julie Ravito. That would be Ravito's 4th, unless they updated the scoreboard immediately, which they did not. So that's Ravito's 4th.
So that's a big foul on Ravito. Ravito really struggling today, Joe. Just 7 points on the game and a lot of turnovers so far for Ravito.
As Victoria Cray scores her 10th point from the free throw, and a very strong start for Cray in the first quarter. She had 5. Quiet offensively since, but has done a great job of really getting this Dolphins offense moving quickly down the floor. Her outlet passes have been a big part of the reason why CSI has thrived in transition. They haven't needed her scoring here in this game, as Diana Todaro shows good hands there, poking that ball away, and then finishes in transition. What a sequence there for Diana Todaro, who shows quick hands, poking that ball away, and then double-teamed in transition, finishes at the rim, draws the foul, converting the N1, hopes to knock down the free throw as well, as Todaro now at the line shooting 1 free throw, and she knocks it down. So she closes out what is a tremendous sequence for not only her, but this Dolphins team, a team that now leads by 14 points.
Yeah, their biggest lead of the game, and Todaro playing great as we have an opportunity to take a look at it again.
And I don't think that's the first time Todaro has made a play like that here in this game. She's shown very quick hands defensively up against the ball handler for William Paterson, whoever that may be. And right there, she demonstrates those quick hands yet again and an ability to finish very strongly at the rim. She's been a presence offensively on the inside for the Dolphins, not only in this game, but in several other games this season.
She's a player that fills up the scoreboard in a lot of ways, Joe. Assists, turnovers, steals. She does it, and she really adds a dimension to the CSI team.
As Angelique Price finishes inside, driving to her left. And the Dolphins' lead is now a game-high, 16 points.
And, for the Dolphins now with 9:04 remaining, you want to just keep doing what you're doing. A great start here to this fourth quarter for the Dolphins.
It was a strong finish to the third for William Paterson, but they've come out very slow here in this fourth quarter as the Dolphins look to run the other way yet again. Price drives, scoops one up with the left hand, no good. And an over-the-back foul charged to Diana Todaro on that one.
Yeah, so that time Angelique taking the ball to the basket, trying to get her second basket in a row, and Todaro will pick up the foul. That's going to be her the first team foul for the Dolphins here in the fourth quarter.
That is Todaro's second personal, and we have seen her get into foul trouble before this season as the Pioneers look to inbound and eventually find Danica DeFrank. She's defended by Samantha Flecker.
Dolphins on a 7-0 run here to start the fourth, Joe.
And the Pioneers look to be calling out of plays. It's Giordano with the ball. She's been running the point for a large part of this game. Green swings it over to Hill. Hill drives down the left wing. Post jumper, no good. Rebound fought for by Wetzel and Passaturo. And a jump ball was called. Possession will stay with William Paterson.
Nice job by Christina against the bigger player. Forces the Pioneers to inbound with just 5 on the shot clock.
Good call there, Mike. Only 5 to shoot. Green drives to her left. And I don't know about the call, but if it was indeed a foul, not a smart foul there by the Dolphins. I thought Price may have gotten her hand on the ball and pinned it to Green. Either way, Green will head to the line. Impossible to tell from our angle how much ball or arm Price may or may not have gotten on that reach-in, but it does indeed send CeCe Green to the line, who knocks down her first free throw.
And that breaks the 7-0 run, Joe, for the Dolphins. Green, a 75% shooter, hits the first.
The Dolphins in this game have shot 27 free throws as opposed to only 12 for the Pioneers. But that's the second time that the Pioneers have grabbed an offensive rebound off of a missed second free throw. And the travel is called, so that second chance opportunity will not yield points as the travel is called against Tori Wetzel. And the Dolphins will inbound. Tadaro checks out, Perone checks in.
Rosa played very well in the first half, Joe. Let's see how she does in her minutes here in the fourth quarter.
It's Cray with the ball for the Dolphins. She surveys the floor. Not much going on for the Dolphins here as Passaturo has it, crosses over and drives to her left. Once again, finding Cray cutting back door. That pass over to Perone, deflected. It finds its way out to the perimeter for Price. Her three-pointer no good, but she follows the shot and grabs the offensive rebound. A new 30-second shot clock for the Dolphins. Passaturo drives and is fouled. Foul charge to number 11, Danica DeFrank.
That was a great play that time by Angelique Price, Joe. She missed the three-pointer, but her hustle enabled the Dolphins to get the rebound, and now off the foul, get another fresh 30-second shot clock.
And Passaturo's floater is good off the feed from Price. Good ball movement there, and the Dolphins have really done a great job off of inbounds passes, generating quick and easy offense as they deflect that inbounds pass of the Pioneers away, and they're really forcing William Paterson to work on each and every inbound.
And the Dolphins now with a 17-point lead, Joe, and the basketball with 7:20 remaining, but the Pioneers get the steal.
And this is a big opportunity for William Paterson, and they cannot convert it as they desperately needed that basket. And instead it may go as 2 the other way for the Dolphins, and it might be 3 as Samantha Flecker converts, draws the foul, and will go to the line for 1. Just a disastrous sequence for the Pioneers of William Paterson. They force the Dolphins turnover. Tori Wetzel can't convert on the easy layup attempt. The Dolphins then head back the other way off of the missed layup, and Flecker converts, draws the foul, goes to the line for 1, and that's a massive swing of 5 points if Flecker convert from the line here. Here's another look.
As you see, Perone grabbed the rebound and feed it out to Passaturo. A nice feed to Flecker as she completes the three-point play. The Dolphins have outscored the Pioneers 12-1, Joe, and open a 20-point lead and just a minute or so away from getting into garbage time here. Big couple of minutes coming up for the Pioneers.
And Flecker has been money attacking the basket in this game, drawing fouls and finishing when she's been able to beat defenders in transition. She simply out-hustled the defense back onto the offensive end. And it's really done a great deal for the Dolphins in this game as she will draw the offensive foul right here. So Flecker getting it done both at the offensive end and defensive end for the Dolphins in this fourth quarter and really this entire game as the lead has now ballooned to 20 points with just under 7 minutes to go here in the fourth quarter. And you get a look at that turnover number for William Paterson. They've now doubled up the Dolphins in the turnover department as Passaturo knocks down the corner 3 and then steals the inbounds pass. So Passaturo very active in that last sequence as it seems the Pioneers have just given in here. Very lazy inbounds passes and lackluster play at the offensive end that has resulted in several turnovers as Passaturo drives and can't convert the layup. The Dolphins will head back the other way. It's Green with the basketball. She's double-teamed by Cray and Flecker, and this may be another turnover as the hustle of Samantha Flecker has been consistent from tip-off all the way through this point in the game with the Dolphins leading by 23 points. You have to love what you've seen from Flecker, and she's a big reason why the Dolphins have 39 points off of turnovers. As you see on your screen, a lot of those points have been scored by Samantha Flecker.
You know, Joe, the Dolphins came into this game 7-1 and finished last year winning 3 out of their last 4 games, including a CUNYAC championship, and this team is coming out here and making a statement here tonight at home against a William Paterson team that came in playing very well, and they haven't played well tonight, and the CSI Dolphins are the reason why.
As Pasatoro drives, kicks out into the corner for Price. Her three-pointer no good, rebounded by the Pioneers. It's Asani looking to bring it the other way quickly. The Pioneers don't have much time. As she loses the handle, Cray comes in more aggressively on defense, but they find Tori Wetzel inside for the easy layup. And that's probably the easiest basket the Pioneers have scored here in this fourth quarter, and there hasn't been much scoring by William Paterson in quarter number 4.
It's also their only basket, Joe, here in the fourth.
Well, that's a good point, Mike. So I didn't think it was much that they've scored here in this quarter, as the Pioneers do force the turnover at the other end and run the fast break nicely as Wetzel finishes with 2 hands underneath. And it's a 19-point Dolphins lead.
Yeah, it was just 23, though, Joe, so you want to play consistently here. Still 5 minutes remaining.
And if you're the Dolphins, the clock is your friend in this situation. If they utilize the 30-second shot clock each and every possession, it would be nearly impossible for the Pioneers to get back in this game. Dolphins just need to protect the ball as Price drives to her left, and a strong finish inside by Angelique Price. And the Dolphins have really been strong around the rim here in this game, and I mentioned it during the pregame. Make the players who have, or give, I should say, give the Pioneers the distinct height advantage over you. Make them work in the paint defensively. The Dolphins have done that from the start here in this game. They've also forced those players to get back in transition, and that's something they've struggled with as Perrone blocks that shot of Sihana Asani with 2 hands, but then the Pioneers get an easy look inside, but Carolyn Hill cannot convert. Another easy opportunity goes by the wayside for William Paterson. 4:11 on the clock, and Victoria Cray will dribble some more time off of the game clock. Gives it up to Angelique Price. Price dribbles over to the left wing, gives up her dribble, nearly gets stripped. Now drives inside and finds Rosa Perrone in the corner. Perrone's wild layup, no good. That rebounded by Wetzel, who nearly gets stripped by Cray. Asani inside to Wetzel, and she draws the foul while also converting on that shot inside. So Tori Wetzel to the line for 1. We haven't seen Julie Ravito check back in, though it might be too little too late if she can get on track. It was a rough night for the Pioneers' leading scorer.
And you know, Joe, the Dolphins have just won in the last 5 against this William Paterson team, but they've come out here and played very well so far here tonight. 3 minutes, 43 seconds remaining. Dolphins up by 19.
And a big bright spot tonight for the Pioneers has been the play of Tori Wetzel, who has a double-double in this game. 10 rebounds. And I'm looking for the point total here to go along with 21 points. So a 20-10 game for Wetzel, who shot 57% from the field. I believe that surpasses her season average of about 56.5 as Victoria Cray draws the foul. But a very strong effort from the second leading scorer for the Pioneers here tonight, Tori Wetzel.
And the Pioneers over the limit, so it'll be a pair of free throws here for the Dolphins for the rest of the game as Victoria Cray will go to the line for the Dolphins. Victoria already with 11 points here on the afternoon, and I think she did a great job running the offense, Joe, for the Dolphins here this afternoon.
She did, Mike. And early in the game, they got some scoring out of Victoria Cray. I believe she had 5 points in the first quarter, but I said it before, it's been Cray's outlet passing and getting this team moving forward on the fast break that has been so key to the Dolphins' points off of turnovers total and how efficient they've been in transition. She's really been the catalyst for them getting this offense moving forward. Also, Christina Pasatoro's done a great job distributing the basketball, as tonight it was Samantha Flecker who led this team in scoring and really got it done at both ends of the floor. Flecker has 22 in this game on 10 of 18, and the level of effort that she's able to bring game in and game out, given how many minutes she plays, usually all of every game, is really impressive, and we saw that here tonight.
Yeah, and those 18 points by Pasatoro here in the second half really have helped the Dolphins. As 3 minutes remaining, and the Dolphins in complete control of this one against the Pioneers.
And I should mention that with those 18 points in the second half for Pasatoro, she is now the Dolphins' leading scorer with 23 in this game. So a really big second half for Paterson, who shot much more efficiently from the field in half number 2. I believe it was, I actually have those halftime numbers in front of me. At halftime for Paterson, it was 2 of 12. So here in the second half, Paterson shooting 5 of 9 as Cray drives inside looking for Nicole and Bessie. That pass knocked away with 1 on the shot clock, so the Dolphins will have to get creative here off the inbounds pass.
And, Joe, how great do the Dolphins feel here up by 21, 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining, and knowing that they are going to have their next game against New Jersey City University, a team that they're favored against. Then they'll travel up to MIT before they get into the meat of the conference schedule. So a lot of excitement on this veteran CSI team who are looking for their second consecutive CUNYAC championship.
And you couldn't ask for much more if you're this Dolphins team heading into the holiday recess. A huge win off a very formidable opponent, an opponent that you thought, Mike, may have been the very best they've faced this season. And the Dolphins certainly have not made the Pioneers look like it, as it's been really smooth sailing for them since the start of the second half, really. It's been all Dolphins in half number 2 after they took a small lead into the halftime break. And it looks like they'll look to dribble some more time off of the clock here as Paterson being isolated for. She finds Jackie Callie in the right corner. Her three-pointer is short. It's rebounded by the Pioneers as Tennille Stewart pushes it up ahead and attempting to drive there, and committing the charge was Emma Giacchetti. So Giacchetti charged with the offensive foul, and we'll see some wholesale substitutions as heading to the bench will be Cray and Paterson. Checking in Zerpolo and McEwen.
And you know, Joe, this was a 2-point game at halftime. The Dolphins outscoring the Pioneers 45-26 here in the second half to blow this game open with 1 minute 42 seconds remaining. They lead by 21 points. And they're going to win their 6th in a row and advance their record to 8-1. And this is a Pioneer team that came. The Dolphins went on the road and lost by 25-2 last year. Well, they turned it around here tonight, leading by 21 with 1 minute 42 remaining.
So a huge win here for the Dolphins tonight. Could be a 20-plus point victory, as DeMontro's pass toward the corner is nearly stolen by the Pioneers. But Voika recovers the ball as McEwen dribbles at the top of the arc, swings it to the left wing, DeMontro into the corner. Voika brings it up toward the wing, finds Megan McEwen, who swings inside and can't finish. Pioneers coming back the other way. And that was Sierra Strong who was fouled on that last layup attempt. And she will go to the line for 2.
Yes, the Dolphins look to close out their final 1 minute and 13 seconds before having over 2 weeks off as we head into Christmas. And Dolphins feeling pretty good about themselves, Joe. A great all-around effort here today. And, you know, one of the things I think that the ladies really came out and proved is that even when they're playing against a bigger team, they could figure out a way to do things defensively to frustrate them.
And they certainly did that here tonight. As I told you, I was skeptical going to that game against Wagner that could force the amount of turnovers they did. Going into this game, I thought, how could they replicate that effort again? But they did so and then some here tonight, as the Pioneers simply could not stop turning the ball over. And that's something that we'll have to ask Victoria Cray, who will come here and join us for the post-game interview, how this Dolphins team has been able to consistently force so many turnovers against quality competition.
41 turnovers for the Pioneers here tonight, Joe.
And I thought the turnover numbers in the game against Wagner were unprecedented. 41 is, I believe, the most that I've seen committed by a single team in any game I've covered, as it's Brooks firing from just inside the free throw line. No good. Zerpolo rebounds it. She faces full court pressure from the Pioneers. It's now McEwen with the ball. Finds Voika in the corner. And the Dolphins may just look to dribble this out. Perhaps not, as McEwen drives to her left. Voika swings it up top to Zerpolo. DeMoncho has it on the right wing inside to Visaja Watson. Nice bounce pass to McEwen, and McEwen can't finish the layup. So a good possession there from the Dolphins, a possession that will presumably be their last here in this game, as the lead is 19 with 15.7 on the clock. Megan McEwen, though, will head to the line for 2. And her first free throw is good. So the Dolphins lead back to 20 points. And the second free throw from McEwen also good. So the Dolphins lead now 21 as we wind down to the final seconds of this fourth quarter in a game that really from halftime onward, maybe even late in the second quarter onward, was all Dolphins. And the home team will receive a nice ovation from their fans behind us as the last shot attempt by the Pioneers is no good. And all zeros up on the clock as the Dolphins win this game by a final score of 79-58.
Yeah, you know, Joe, there's a lot of very impressive things to say about this CSI Dolphin team, a team that struggled with their shooting, went into the lead at halftime leading by 2 points, although I thought they played a little bit better than a 2-point lead, and then really put their foot on the gas in the second half at a point where you thought the Pioneers might be able to wear them down a little bit. Instead, it was the CSI Dolphins forcing the turnovers, starting to heat up offensively. Christina Passatoro got hot in the second half, and the Dolphins cruised to victory with a big win, forcing 41 turnovers by William Paterson as they defeat the Pioneers by 21 points, win their 6th in a row. They're now 8-1 on the season. They've won 11 out of their last 13 games, and this veteran team, Joe, with a mixture of some new players sprinkled in, really is playing extremely well.
And I find the turnover numbers almost unbelievable, as we'll be joined by Victoria Cray, and I'll ask her about just that. And Victoria Cray joins us now. Cray, as we all call you here at CSI. In that game, you guys forced 41 turnovers, defensive intensity from start to finish in that game. How do you guys play at the pace that you do while still maintaining that defensive intensity?
Well, Coach definitely prepares us for that. In practice, we're running the entire 3 hours. He has us going up and down, and playing each other is the best competition that we have, and when we come out here, we're always ready to go.
And I'm sure Coach has told you this, but he told us this at halftime. We asked him about you guys in the half court on offense. On the fast break, you guys seem to thrive and score nearly all of your points either off of turnovers or in transition. How do you guys manage to play a game like that where you're running up and down the floor for 40 minutes? I guess that goes back to what I just asked you, but this team, again, has thrived in transition. What do you look for when you're making those outlet passes we mentioned during the broadcast?
I'm looking for the girl that's closest down to the other end to the hoop, and Coach wants me to get the ball out of my hands quick, and that's the kind of team we are. We're transition. We really don't like to run plays, so any chance we get to fast break, we do it.
He told us no plays run at all. If there are plays being run, it's often trouble. Thank you, Cray, for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Yes, we were nice enough to be joined by Victoria Cray, Joe, and we didn't really have a chance to ask her, but Dolphins now have won 6 in a row. They're 8 of 9 on the season, 8-1. They finished the playoffs last year, winning 3 out of their last 4. So they've now won 11 out of their last 13 games. And you know, this non-conference win is really a little bit of a statement in the region, Joe. It was the kind of game that this CSI Dolphin team has been waiting to get the victory and to come out and play well against a team that has established themselves in the region, and they certainly did that here tonight as we have an opportunity to look at a couple of replays, but they really gave the Pioneers all they wanted. I think they surprised William Paterson with their ability to defend them here tonight, and 41 turnovers is really a outstanding number, and we're talking about against a quality team. So good job by the Dolphins here tonight. They go into the Christmas break with a lot of momentum, a lot of basketball left to come, but boy, oh boy, I think this game here tonight really establishes the Dolphins as the team to beat in the CUNYAC Conference.
And I think the big question that comes from this game is there a team that can clean up their turnover issues against this Dolphins defense? This full court pressure continues to force 25-plus turnovers seemingly each and every game, and every time I question whether or not the Dolphins can do it again and force those kind of turnover numbers, they prove that they can. And here tonight, they forced turnovers nonstop from start to finish here in this game, and they turned those turnovers into points and a huge victory. Another big margin of victory for the Dolphins, 20-plus points, a 21-point victory here tonight. The final score, 79-58 in favor of the Dolphins. And our next broadcast now, not for quite a long time, Mike, as the holiday recess will take us off the air for about 2 weeks. Actually, over 2 weeks, as our next matchup will be against NJCU. That game on December 27th here at the Sports and Recreation Center at 5:30 p.m. You mentioned that's a game the Dolphins are favored in. What are your final thoughts heading into the holiday recess?
Yeah, Joe, you got to be so excited if you're a CSI women's basketball fan. Their ability to compete here tonight and really dominate a William Paterson team that had come in playing very well, hand the Pioneers their first loss on the road this year, and really just come out and show, this team has so much veteran leadership and so much veteran talent that this team is really looking to make a statement. I think they did a good job of that here tonight. They have a couple more non-conference games coming up before New Year's, and then they're going to kick off the conference schedule in earnest beginning January 3rd against Lehman College. But, like I said, I think the Dolphins serve notice to the rest of the conference here that they're serious about defending their CUNYAC championship and getting back into the NCAA tournament and continuing their improved play here in 2017.
And this team certainly making the most of its talent. A very strong start to the season, and absolutely a statement win here tonight. A 21-point victory over a formidable non-conference foe. Again, the final score, the Dolphins 79 and the Pioneers of William Paterson University 58. The Dolphins improve to 8-1, and the Pioneers fall to 5-4. This has been Joe Foreman, and for Mike Babuski and all of us here at the College of Staten Island, along with our engineer tonight, David Pizzuto, who's moved over to my left, vacating his seat for me. I appreciate that. Once again, our final score, the Dolphins 78 and the Pioneers 58. Our next broadcast, once again, will be on December 27th when the Dolphins take on the Gothic Knights of NJCU. If you can't attend the game, be sure to join us here on CSI Sportsnet at csidolphins.com for that broadcast and all of our broadcasts this season. You can catch this game on demand at csidolphins.com/CSI Sportsnet. Everyone, enjoy the rest of your night.